Happy Friday. Hope all you guys can see me. Hope all you guys can hear me. Welcome to Saturday, the first day in October. There are 274 days left in 2022. Today is no, there are 91 days left in 2022. Today is the 274th day of 2022. It's almost over. We're almost through a year. Um, this is fall. We're about 20 some odd days away from daylight savings when it gets dark at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is after 4 months of stifling heat. I'm ready for it. Ooh, thank you for allowing me into wherever your screen is at to shepherd you in from October 1st well into October 2nd. For those of you on the East Coast, it's going to be even deeper because we usually go to 12:30, depending on what we're talking about. We got some basic subjects. A lot of the stuff we're going to be talking about tonight is stuff that I hit upon during the week and that I wanted to go into depth with on the much longer show when it's a lot less cramped. And I'm winding down business for the day. I still got about 20 or 30 more minutes. Then I can turn off my open sign. So if you hear this, then that means there's somebody coming through the door. I am expecting a couple of customers too. So if I have to go to the blank screen, I'll turn the show over to Thade and he'll buy me some time. Speaking of which, could have swore I sent you that link already, but there you go.
Yeah. Evening, everybody.
They all look like they all have a little ducky on them, so who knows? Are you sure you're ready? What the hell was that?
That was the notification that the show was live.
Oh, okay. Damn, that's late.
Yeah.
it chirped in online like right as I was running the speed metal music. Woo! Oh, all right. So among the topics we're going to talk about tonight, we'll hit on our basic stuff, but one of the things that we'll talk about at the tail end is the 5th anniversary of what I think to be one of the greatest science fiction achievements of all time. That is Blade Runner 2049. It was released on October 6th. So the very next time we do an overnight, we'll have already gone through that anniversary. Was not a big hit when it hit the theaters, and since it has been released, has been revered. Out of the 2 Blade Runner movies, it's the only one to win Academy Awards. It won for Best Cinematography and Best Visual Effects. And because of 2049's success, or whatever you want to call it, sustainability, we now have a brand new Blade Runner series that'll be happening here pretty soon from Amazon. And Amazon doesn't skip on anything. If they're doing it, it's going to be quality. I'm not a big Lord of the Rings fan, but hey, people are happy with Lord of the Rings, what they got, $500 million for that. So I just hope they do Blade Runner the same type of justice, and I think they will. So, however, we got to go up. We got to start the night off where we kind of started it off yesterday. Hour before our broadcast, the great Antonio Inoki passed away at the age of 79. We found about it in our chat, and I wanted to give him his proper tribute in full. If those of you who don't know who I am talking about, and hold on, before I get in, let me say hi to the chat before we get too crazy. I don't know who that jackass is. Okay. Hey Stella, how you doing? Are we live? Are we good in all the chat room? Because it looks like it says there's his fourth is there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're live.
There's a delay. I can see it now. I see why that came through. Hey, how you doing, Vince? Yeah. So if there's a delay, guys, let me know because there seems to be a delay between the chat and where we are at. But that's cool. For those of you who don't know who Antonio Inoki is, you may not know him by name. You may have never heard of this guy. Most people have not. But you have definitely, especially if you're a wrestling fan, for sure, you have felt his influence. Antonio Inoki was the founder of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like I said yesterday, those 2 belts that you see me wearing, and one of them I'm going to show you again, those are IWGP. Those are New Japan. He founded that company back in 1972. It is the 50th anniversary of that company. And even if you've never watched New Japan Pro Wrestling, you have been influenced. If you watch AEW, even though he didn't have a direct lineage to those wrestlers that founded AEW, he founded the company that most of those guys got their footing on. Their last stop before what gave them the credibility to start AEW, a little bit with Ring of Honor too, was what they were doing in New Japan. Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Adam Page, all those guys, all the executive VPs that are running AEW right now got their footing in New Japan Wrestling, the promotion he created. If you go over and look at WWF or WWE, Shinsuke Nakamura, one of the greatest New Japan wrestlers of all time, former heavyweight champion. Finn Balor, who's Prince Devitt over in New Japan. He's a big star. AJ Styles had two of the best careers, in my opinion, of his two of the best years, 2014 to 2016, of his career in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's their very next stops were either AEW or WWE. And there's a lot more. We did a show a couple of months back of the influence of New Japan Pro Wrestling, because I didn't think a lot of people had their eyeballs on it as much as I thought they should. And we went down. I had Armando on the show. We went up and down the list of people. Even the Undertaker, Hulk Hogan was WGP champion. He wrestled Inoki. He wrestled all kinds of people on all. Muhammad Ali. I mean, this guy was a giant, and he's one of those giants that go beneath the waves. He's done so much and influenced so much, but it's taken for granted because a lot of people don't watch anything outside of American wrestling. So let me go ahead and the tributes have been rolling in, and just to show you what kind of influence that this guy had. Let me show you some of the tributes that are coming in, and they are pretty much without limit when you talk about this guy. So let's see. I just want to make sure I put up the right one. All right, here we go. All right, so Wrestling World pays tribute to legend. Like I said, I know that word is used a lot, but when it comes to Antonio Inoki, that's not overused. That's not a good enough term. I mean, I don't know if icon's big enough, but like I said, if you watch enough wrestling and you start tracing some of your favorite wrestlers back to some of these guys that are, in their 60s, 70s, and 80s now, you realize it's not just Vince McMahon, it's not just Tony Khan, it's not just Ted Turner. These are the guys who really laid the foundation. And another thing that New Japan did was when WWE was the monopoly from 2001 on, it was just one more place for workers to go, so that if they couldn't get a job here in the States because of whatever was going on with Vince, they could go overseas and carve out a pretty good living. So, all right, legendary Japanese wrestler and WWE Hall of Famer Antonio Inoki passed away at the age of 79. Inoki, who was battling a rare disease called, we tried it, and I messed this up. I'm going to try to pronounce this, guys. Hopefully I do not butcher this out of respect for the medical field and out of Antonio himself. Amyloidosis died on Friday. Inoki made his pro wrestling debut in 1960. In 1976, he faced world boxing champion Muhammad Ali in an actual boxing match. A high-profile battle even earned the Fight of the Century tag. Inoki retired from all forms of professional wrestling in 1998. He wrestled well into his old age. Inoki's death jolted the wrestling world, prompting a flood of social media reactions. Prominent figures like Triple H, Tony Khan, Samoa Joe, Taz, many others paid tribute to Inoki in heartfelt messages. Triple H, the five-time world heavyweight champion, called Inoki one of the most important figures in the history of the sport, one of the most important figures in the history of our business, and a man who embodied the term fighting spirit. The legacy of WWE Hall of Famer Antonio Inoki will live on forever. WWE's current chief content officer, Triple H wrote. Okay, and that's his tweet right there. Do I have that up on the screen properly?
No.
Okay, let me dude, StreamYard has changed. Usually when you went to share screen, it went right to the share screen. But yeah. I read off that text. Now you have to add it manually. I don't know if I like that or not, but I got to get used to it. But that was Triple H's tweet. So let me go to some of the other ones, because like I said, it came from all over. Tony Khan, R.I.P. Antonio Inoki, a pioneer who in the pro wrestling industry, Inoki's influence and his achievements will live on forever in the wrestling world. He's an inspiration to all of the dreamers. Thank you, sir. Tony Khan, like I said, the core of his staff came from a promotion that Antonio founded. So this guy was, he was big. All right, William Regal, who wrestled him, and actually, if you see the picture right there, that's William Regal wrestling him. And if you look at Antonio Inoki, this is back when he was in wrestling on WCW. He was a monster of a man. He was a very imposing figure. I mean, and Lord Regal's like 6'4", so you can kind of see how big and what a giant this guy was. Not just in a description, he really was a giant. Deeply saddened to hear about the passing of Mr. Antonio Inoki, the legendary Japanese pro wrestling. Mr. Inoki chose to wrestle me in 1994, and we became friends, kept in touch, and always very kind to me. My deepest condolences to his family and his fans. Mick Foley, the hardcore icon himself. Very sorry to learn of the loss of Antonio Inoki. What a towering presence in our business. I loved his matches, especially his classic brawls with Bruiser Bros. Yeah, if you ever get a chance to watch some of those might be on too. Here's another legend, soon to be legend. I found my road. Thank you for everything, Inoki-sama. Rest in power. Like I said, Samoa Joe. For those of you who watched Samoa Joe before he showed up in AEW, and even prior to when he showed up in WWE and Ring of Honor, he was heavily influenced by him. Adam Cole. Adam Cole's another one that was with New Japan and came over with from people from the Elite. R.I.P. Antonio Inoki, a legend in every sense of the word. And yeah, you just can't overstate what he meant. And just to show you how, let me go grab this real quick, and then I'll pull up this overlay that I bought in. Along this belt, I often bring it out, usually because I'm proud of it, and it's one of the coolest things I have in my possession. But this belt, this heavyweight championship belt, one of the coolest things about it, and you guys can't see it up here, but I do have overlays that I'm going to show you. Depending on when you get a belt like this, it has all the champions' names on the side. All right, Hulk Hogan is on here. I think Hogan was the very first one. Hulk Hogan's on here. Brock Lesnar's name is on here. Nakamura's name is on here. Okada's name is on here. Tanahashi, and it has the year that they won it, each reign. So Tanahashi was 8-time champion. Tanahashi has 8 years under here when you look at it. Bob Sapp. I mean, there's a lot of guys, a lot of names. AJ Styles is on here. Big Van Vader is on here. But one of the most important names on here is the one who just passed away yesterday in Inoki. He was one of the very first champions. And just to give you just a real close-up of that, there he is right there. 1987. He held not this belt, obviously, but he held this. He basically brought this title to prominence during his time. Having been the founder of the promotion, he carried the flag for the promotion for a very long time. So, yeah, rest in peace, Antonio. Like I said, 79 years old. And I did not know he was going through a lot of the health issues. I mean, you'd seen more of him this year simply because it's the 50th anniversary of New Japan. So that, you'd see him obviously as the founder. He was at ceremonies and everything else. But like I said, it's not just New Japan. If you are a pro wrestling fan, you should know who this is. You may not, but trust me when I tell you, you lost. The world has lost a giant today. So let me go to the chat and see. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing it now. Like I said, I saw there was an error screen in here, so I think something's up with StreamYard in general because everything's wacky. It happens on a Saturday night. All right, StreamYard is cool for easy to bring people in and share chats, which seems lackluster. Yeah, and lately they've changed some things. Like I said, keep in mind, I'm kind of new at all this. I mean, I've been doing this for 7 months or so, and I'm still learning and getting a little bit more comfortable, so adding equipment. And there's certain times I add equipment where the equipment's not working. One of the times I had my mic on, and it took the camera's mic as a default mic, even though I had it on this condenser mic. Pissed me off. It was a good-ass stream, and, I sound like a Muppet anyway, but at least you can hear me. On one of the streams we did, you couldn't even hear me, and it just aggravated me. So StreamYard is cool. It's the first thing I've ever learned to use as a new streamer. As I get more experience and as I hopefully get bigger, I'll probably try some of the other ones that see if they're easier. But StreamYard will do right now. But yeah, just lately it's been it's been doing goofy stuff. So yeah, that's what why we were starting the show last night, and like I said, it kind of floored me. If you look at his go ahead, Theta. I know I'm not sure if you knew who or were very familiar who he was.
I'm not really familiar with him because I'm not really familiar with the whole Japanese, like I said before, the Japanese wrestling group. But it is always sad when an athlete finally passes. And that being said, William is proof that people were alive when dinosaurs were. That's not cool, man. That's my co-host. Come on now.
Yeah, I'm memorializing a guy, and you're cracking old jokes at me. I mean, I'm thinking, well, we're talking about mortality here, and you guys are trying to push me into the grave, but that's just fine. Yeah, some of his achievements and accomplishments, it's staggering for the time that he was around. Championships in the Cauliflower Alley Club. That's actually here in Vegas where they all get together. International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame, Japanese Wrestling Association, NWA Tag Team Champion, Asia Tag Team Champion, National Wrestling Federation, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Heavyweight Champion one time, original version 2 times. I mean, he won titles, and he wasn't afraid to carry that New Japan banner into the ring with guys like Hulk Hogan or Muhammad Ali. And that's a big name to get into. So he was the flag bearer of RIP. Yeah, you know what? It's Alpha Jeebus now, not Monkey Jeebus. Okay. I'm glad you have promoted yourself to a cat-eating alien. By the way, all the shows that I want, for every show that had a short life and didn't get like a second or third season, fucking Alf got 4 seasons. I don't know if any of them were deserved, but I thought that show was on the death watch from its pilot, and it lasted 4
years.
Alf got 4 years. There are shows that I petitioned to and signed the change.org things to that I will never get back. Alf got 4 years.
I live in a world where Alf got 4 years and Firefly only got 1 season.
Yeah, that was shown out of sequence and not even in its entirety. And most people didn't even know about Firefly until Serenity came out. That's how poorly Fox handled all that. The Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles. I love that show. I can't get more of that, but Alf got 4 years. That is a crime that other shows get canceled at the, cliffhangers and endings that we'll never get. Alf got a beginning, a middle, and an ending. He ate asbestos and he ate cats. He was always trying to eat the cat. I never got the show or understood it. And he even had a cartoon. He had toys and a cartoon. I'm like, dude, we were just talking about Pee-wee's Playhouse. How did that last 4 years, given what it was about and what people should have known about Paul Rubens? That show lasted 4 years. But my show's canceled. Canceled mid-season. We regret to inform you all it was a good run, but we're done. No, but the bonehead shows get forever. So, here we go. This one. Williams proved people are alive. Yeah, okay. You know what? Buddy Landell was champion. I wasn't alive. My dad watched it too, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I'm like, when I first saw it, because they would show you, when shows used to premiere, you used to have this big special. They have one for cartoons. They would show you the brand new cartoons that were coming out for the fall, and then they would have, each channel would have their network show, and they would go through the shows that were premiering and coming on. And I saw Alf as in the previews. I'm like, this is getting canceled. There's no fucking. This is getting canceled.
Hey, William, I'll be back in just a minute.
All right, this is getting canceled, and it lasted from what, 86 to 90 or something like that. Why? I don't understand. Networks don't talk about my alien life form. You know what? The fact that Alf lasted 4 years is as disturbing as your Avatar, 4,000. Alf deserves it. No. And then now they probably try to CGI him too. They wouldn't even be a puppet. They would just, because remember, he was a puppet and you only saw his top half unless he was running around in the yard, and then he got a midget in a little Alf suit. I'm like, what? I cannot believe that show lasted as long as it did. But hey, you know what? He eats his own. Gordon Shumway. That was his name. He actually had a name. I'm like, it was an alien life form. So that was ridiculous. All right, so yeah, rest in peace, Antonio Inoki, and like I said, let's go on to some lighter stuff. Some of the things that we were talking about Deadpool yesterday, and I talked about it on another stream today. One of the things about the Hugh Jackman thing coming through is, like I said, when it comes to Marvel, it's just so much. It becomes like it's like a chef made you a good omelet, right? And he made it with all the ingredients that were supposed to be in there, so everything tastes right. All the ingredients are balanced out. You don't have something too hot, too spicy, or too with just too many peppers. It's just perfect. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is like a non-chef, a person off the street coming in, and the way fans want to see it at least, and they want to take that same omelet and be like, you know what, that omelet tastes great the first time. Let's open up the refrigerator and throw all the shit that doesn't belong in an omelet and just stuff it in there until the omelet no longer tastes any good anymore. And that's what I think the MCU is right now. I think the earlier phases they brought in what they needed to bring in to make their machine work. I'm concerned now, and my nickname for MCU is Marvel Clutterverse because there's just too many things in there. And once you put one thing in there, fans got to see everything in there. And I don't think that every Marvel character needs to be in Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Miles Morales discussion. Oh, we got to get Miles Morales into the MCU. Why? It's cluttered enough already. That's one more ingredient that's going to make that omelet just a disgusting omelet now. Not because there's anything wrong with Miles Morales as a character, and not because anything's wrong with necessarily Marvel as a core thing, but when you try to jam everything in existence just because you can and it's out there, it makes for a watered down product, and that's one of the reasons why I'm taking a step back from Marvel because of the fact that it's just become so cluttered. You look at their slate that they're releasing in the next 2 to 3 years, it's that big omelet with a bunch of junk on it. I'm pretty sure I'll find some stuff in there that I like. Secret Invasion, I'm pretty sure I'll enjoy. Wakanda Forever. But every time there's a character that's out there that brings mentioned up that doesn't necessarily fit with what Feige's doing, we find some way to jam that character in. The only reason we got John Krasinski is because fans were like, "Oh, we got to have John Krasinski in there," and it's like somebody going through one of those shopping contests where you get like 5 minutes to stuff everything into your cart. That's what the MCU has become to me, and it's like it's just inundated. So when I see Hugh Jackman coming in, oh, we got to get that Wolverine in the MCU. That Wolverine was never meant to be in the MCU. Yeah, he's going to be there, and I'm pretty sure it'll do fine. But you got to understand that if there hadn't been a Fox pictures to make the type of movies that spawned that Wolverine and spawned this Deadpool, those movies would have never been made. All right, Disney Marvel was never making Deadpool. The only reason you're getting it now is because it's already an established moneymaker. But they were not going to make that movie. Logan was not happening in the MCU. So to me, that's kind of proof that does everything need to be stuffed into the same omelet? I'd rather just them pick and choose. And mutants. We're already talking about, well, we got to get Wolverine in there. I'm like, well, first of all, when we talk about mutants, that's where you're starting. I mean, you already got pre-existing mutants there. We've never discussed this. So yeah, when it comes, I think most of the exhaustion when it comes to MCU, half of it comes from the fans, just driving that train. And then whenever they slip up and they don't make this mistake often, they yield to the fans to bring something in that may not have, should be there. Or they do things like, not recasting certain characters, but we'll get into that because we're going to get into the importance of Black Panther. But yeah, that's what the Deadpool news did for me this week. It basically kind of happy about it because hey, I get to see him one more time. But at the same time, every minute that I've seen that particular character, he's been in a different production company that handled things differently. Do I really need to see him into this universe that is already cluttered? and B is not going to be the future of that character. Hugh Jackman's in his mid-50s. He's not going to play that character forever. Eventually, they are going to have to come up with a new Wolverine. I was ready for them to do that within the next 3 to 4 years anyway. So just, Mike, is curious what you guys think about it. So let me start rolling down. All right. Hey, Chappie, nice to see you again. My thoughts on I always jack his name up. Gotta slow down. Mahershala Ali being frustrated with the Blade development process and not being too happy with the script for it not only being 90 pages long with 2 lacklusters. Like I said, I'm not in that room with them, but I can see it. I just finished discussing. There's not necessarily. How you doing, Brian? There's not necessarily a place for Blade, in my opinion, but we're getting him. So we're getting Blade. And here's the thing. Once you start making that omelet with all the shit in your refrigerator, just because the shit is there, not because it's going to make a good omelet, because the shit's there and you can grab it in your paws and stuff it into those eggs and make that omelet. You start getting things like this. Now it makes it hard to write a story because remember, everything that Marvel does for the most part is connected to something else Marvel does. So the script may not fit what Mahershala Ali wants to do, a 2-time Academy Award winner wants to do, but it fits their overall narrative. And that's the problem when we're all stuck in that same omelet. So for a guy at that level who really doesn't need any particular movie, he's already up there. He's one of a handful of people that have won multiple Oscars. So now we start having script issues 6 weeks before we're starting to shoot. So yeah, when you have so much clutter, you're going to have things like this. I don't understand how you could bring in a high level guy like him, and this is not your first comic book movie, and have creative differences 6 weeks away from you starting to push record on the camera. So I'm taking a wait and see. I hope they get it together because I do like that particular actor. The both movies he's won for, I think he's great. I think he's one of the best actors of our generation, but not everybody needs to be in the MCU and not every actor will do well there. So, hey, Brian, how you doing, man? Are you done singing?
Yeah, man. Don't have much of a voice left. I'm only going to be on for a little bit, but what's going down tonight?
We were discussing the passing of Antonio Inoki. To me, like I said, I'm probably going to have a bigger stake in that sorrow than most other people because a lot of people don't know who he is. Big wrestling promoter, big wrestling person. He was in New Japan. He founded New Japan, but like I was telling everybody else, what he did influences the wrestling that they're watching today. So if you're watching modern wrestling, and there's not a federation you can turn on that doesn't have a wrestler that spent time and cut their teeth in his wrestling promotion. So and then we talked about Alf being on the air for much longer than it had any business ever being on the air. While shows that I love get canceled after 2 seasons, Alf got bored.
like Airhawk or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
Airwolf. Helicopter. Airwolf. Yeah. Yes.
So I can't get my series to stay on for any significant amount of time, but we can get Alf. So because somebody had the
NBC for you, man. What can I say?
And then people's dad loved, and my dad loved Alf too. Star Wars and and that's with any franchise. Once we get rolling and things become a success, you got to be careful when we have these franchises, in my opinion, because like I said, following some of these things has been exhausting. And then I get on streams with people who want to get excited about something that's happening in 2026. Fuck, I'm trying to get through 2022. I'm excited about the NFL tomorrow morning. That's how close I am.
I got to work tomorrow morning, so I could give 2 shits. And my fantasy team took a dive on me, and the 49ers are 1-2. So you tell me what's so good about tomorrow, okay? I don't see anything.
My fantasy football team is projected to win by 2 points, so probably going to lose. But I have as much. I have last week. I got destroyed. Like I said, I woke up in the morning. I woke up late. I got up around 11:30 because I had a late night. And by the time I woke up and refreshed my phone, my fantasy football day was over at like 12:01. It was done. So, and I was getting absolutely destroyed. I had guys dropping passes, and I'm like, dude, I had a guy that would have got me like a 30-point touchdown if he'd have just caught the damn thing with all the yardage he would have had. So yeah, fantasy football can tear you up, but some of these games are dreadful. I can't watch the Ravens and the Browns if I don't get action on it, and I don't bet. So fantasy football is it for me.
The Niners and the damn Seahawks was an awful display, man.
And that is why sports gambling exists here in Vegas, because, and that is why the NFL is not king because it's a great product all the time. Most of the games suck. All right. Most of the games suck. They're in places that nobody cares about in low markets. But you know why? You know why Tennessee and St. Louis can draw a number and draw regard? Because somebody in a sports book is got their mortgage bet on it, and a whole bunch of other people are betting on it. And then you got fantasy football. I'll watch some of these games, because red zone, I got it, and I get to see if I'm going to win or not, and have bragging rights when I go into work. But otherwise, based on the product itself, without gambling, the NFL is just like, I'd rather watch reruns of a cartoon than that.
Oh, he's totally my type. Nonsense.
Okay.
What? Oh no, we have sports books here in Reno too. Just go to the casino.
That's why I have to get you in Nevada. Is that your interactive doll there, Thade? Was that what that is? Can you hear me? He's been overtaken by the doll. All right.
No, sorry about that.
Tell her I said hi if a doll can actually hear that.
Oh Jesus!
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. And her.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, 4,000. I hope he wears a yellow suit in Deadpool, though. Okay. I mean, yeah, the yellow suit is cool. It's iconic from the comic book, but one of the reasons why I thought that they ever gave them those suits because they would all look kind of ridiculous. I mean,
can you guys hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Can you hear everything?
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay.
Turn her off while the show's on.
That wasn't what you think it was.
Hey, I am not here to judge you. I could see a version of the yellow and black suit or yellow and blue suit. I mean, but like I said, it just depends on how they do it. But I always thought that they stood away from those costumes. And remember when they came in, originally they were wearing all black leather and all that stuff, and nobody had masks on. Wolverine with the big old thing on. I have always accepted that that's the way Wolverine looked in the comic books. But a lot of stuff that when you see in comic books, sometimes when they've tried to put it over in real action, it doesn't look as good when it's on a comic book page. When Todd McFarlane is drawing you on a page, you may not look that good. When somebody's directing you in live action, it might look kind of silly. But hey, you know what? I'm all for it. Like I said, I like Hugh Jackman in the role, so I'm not opposed to seeing him. I'm just like, I never made a connection with the Deadpool characters. Even when Deadpool was just coming about, like I said earlier in Max's stream, back then Rob Liefeld created 1,000 characters that all looked like Deadpool and came before him, during him, and after him, and whatever company was, and it was just another piece of art. And the character was just was a side piece character. Now, obviously, it's evolved, but I've never found the humor. I like humor in my superhero movies. I don't like comedy superhero movies. That's just not my thing. I realize that certain people will love it that way, and that's great. They're making this movie for you, but I'm not a comedy superhero. I'm not a Minuteman type of a guy. I if you want to crack some jokes and it be, have some comic relief in the movie, I'm all for it. But when the entire movie is a joke or it's meant to be that way, it's just a turnoff for me. And like I said, that's just a personal preference. So Deadpool to me doesn't move the needle out of the way. I did not see any of the Deadpool movies in the theater. We sent people to see them, but I never actually paid money or went to a screening and sat in front of a big screen with Deadpool on them, and I don't plan on it.
Way to shit on my good time, dude. I, for one, am looking forward to Deadpool.
That's
3.
fine.
I am too, Brian. I am too.
2 years from now. I'm also laughing at the smackdown laid by upon another fellow comic book movie struggler. But yeah, no, it was good. I'm excited about it. It's the best news we've gotten in comic movies in quite a while, actually. So yeah, no, really, really looking forward to that.
I guess it's preference, because like I said,
But I know where I'm at, so I'll mind my P's and Q's.
No, listen, like I said, shut up, man. I don't knock
Brian.
people. I don't knock people for liking it. It's just not for me. It didn't excite me. And when Max was bringing up the news, it was like it just didn't excite me when my texts are lighting up. Say, William, did you hear this? William, did you hear this? I'm like, and I flip it open. I'm like, okay. And first of all, when people do that, I'm like, somebody who died, stop doing this to me in the middle of the morning. And then I'm like, oh, Hugh Jackman was going to reprise it. I watched the trailer, and I'm like, all right, cool. And then I went back to bed. Like I said, I know those movies are popular and they reach a certain audience. I'm just not one of them. I like him as Wolverine, though, so that did pique my interest. But to me, I said goodbye to that character in Logan, and I saw, in my opinion, the best dimension that character, that actor in that role could ever give me. Maybe I don't see it because of the way Ryan Reynolds directs and writes stories. I don't foresee. I could be wrong, but I do not foresee this appearance matching Logan. Logan was one of the best movies. Logan's in my top 10 of all time comic book movies. So
It's in my top 3. So
yeah, well, like I said in the little teaser thing, they're not erasing Logan. It happens in 2029.
Oh no.
That's years in 2025. Come on.
No, and I realize that, but it's just to me, in my mind space, it's just like I just think it's going to be at a certain level by a certain actor. It's that's what stays with me, and I don't know.
I think Marvel is running into a problem that DC's had for a really long time, and that's comparisons. We're starting to get into territory where we're going to start comparing what's come before in terms of Fox Marvel and what's coming out now. So, like, yes, of course, we're going to compare the Fantastic Four to the first Fantastic Four, or we're going to compare anything that Wolverine to Logan. You know what I mean? So it's I feel like that's where they're going to start running into issues, because I feel like that is one of the problems with DC, is that like you got people who absolutely love the old school movies, and they're kind of not so keen on the new stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and with DC, you've had so many iterations because they've been making movies for so long
since the 70s. Some legit ones.
Different iterations. Yeah, so now when you look at like Wolverine was the first one, but eventually we're going to get around to Captain America, we're going to get around to Iron Man, and then you're going to start seeing you said.
You flatter me.
What did he say? What
he agreed with me. I was like, oh man.
Let me before I time him out. What did he say?
Oh, it said, Brian, I'm absolutely right. Oh, yes, I am.
You know what, Brodan? You go to bed. You go to bed.
No. Can't we filter people out? Just anybody can jump on this in the damn chat room. I don't know. Can we set off Brodan's ankle bracelet from here and let the parole officers know that?
Well, yeah, you go into
the internet again.
You go into over to the right in the chat where it says.
Oh, here we go.
Time. I'm not kidding.
No, we just need to call Brodan's parole officer.
He's not supposed to be up this late, and he's not supposed to be on the internet.
Man,
what happened last time?
That's racist.
I believe he did. If his full actual name, I just read it somewhere because somebody from the Faith of Islam actually paid tribute to him. Yeah, Muhammad Hussein Inoki. I forgot what year he actually adapted today, but thank you. That's a good pickup. Yeah. And I remember the documentary.
He beat the crap out of Hulk Hogan, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Crap out of a lot of people. And that was
Ric Flair.
Yeah. Yep, Ric Flair. Sting. I mean, Hulk Hogan wrestled him. People see cartoon Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan can actually wrestle. I know this is going to come as a shock to a lot of people who only saw what WWF needed from him. That's all they needed from him, rock and wrestling, and that's it.
Has anybody
Hogan actually wrestle? That's the sad part.
Well, here's the thing. Like, has anybody watched the Vice documentary about when they went and wrestled in North Korea?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I did.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I'll look at it.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, you said it's on Vice, right?
Yeah. It's on Hulu, actually. They have them on. But
it's
no, dude,
Hulu.
that one was fantastic. Well, no, I guess Antonio Inoki made it possible for them to go wrestle in North Korea.
Yeah. Yeah, he reached out to not the current one, but the
Kim Jong Il.
Kim Jong Il.
Kim Jong Il.
It was like the guy was so fascinating. I wish I hope they do a movie about him because like I said, I know I'm most people are not going to know who he is. And I think that's one of those guys that should have a movie made about him so that you have an understanding, even if you're not a wrestling fan, how we're not just a small pocket of the world. Everything we do is global, and we only see things sometimes from our own country, our own city, and our own town, and we don't realize that everything we do, everything we put down money for, everything we are involved in is a part of this big blue and green spear, and it's wrestling, it's everything. There's every sport. I mean,
Oh, I've been watching hockey documentaries and like the Soviet Union versus Canada.
Oh, that was some vicious shit.
When they would throw down.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't the Olympics. They would play each other just to play each other. And like, bro, those are some legit games. And yeah, I did watch the whole controversy about the 93 Stanley Cup.
You know what?
Yeah, Marty McSorley should have put his practice stick away because Patrick Waugh won.
Well, hey, you know what? I think Brian's voice.
I saw the Montreal Canadiens that year play in Arco Arena, 1993.
Aren't you losing your voice?
They shut the Sharks out because I love hockey.
My Kings off. They ripped my Kings
love
off.
hockey and I hate the Kings.
Okay, so why don't you apologize to all of Canada that they haven't had a Stanley Cup since 1993? It's guys like you that make the whammy last. All right. You're going to be 100 years old.
I know the Kings have won the cup twice.
You're going to be like the Cubs fans having to bring the damn goat out there and gnaw on the grass because they had that curse. Remember that? And people
Go
were
Habs. Sorry, Canadians.
Just let the goat eat the grass. No, fuck the Habs. All right, screw them. Anyway, but Antonio Inoki was all over the place. He had influence everywhere, and like I said, this is I think. With the internet, one of the coolest things about the internet is we get to interact with people. I mean, when we were kids, you couldn't interact with somebody on the other side of the world, which lets you have some kind of pen pal in school. Now we can literally either have them on the screen or we can be in a chat room and we can introduce these things. And I wish, I hope people, and it's sad because it'll take the death of a giant like this to spur that on. But hey, go look up this guy's history, man. This is a very, very interesting guy. So let's see. Marcus Cruz, how you doing? I want Hugh Jackman to look like the comic Wolverine, yellow suit, hairy in the arms, stocky and short, even if he was tall. Well, they can listen, the Lord of the Rings proved that you can take people that are taller than, midgets and make them and film them that way. So that special effects can do that. And Wolverine is 5'6", so he's not super midget, but he's not super tall. So I think Hugh Jackman is taller than that. Stocky and short, even though he was tall. Can bend his back and make it look like he should. Now they just use visual effect. I don't know. I think they're gonna do it just to pay homage to it because that's what Ryan Reynolds just. One of the things I do like about Ryan Reynolds is he knows no boundaries. He doesn't. His imagination is so out there. I don't enjoy all of his stuff, but I appreciate and respect the fact that if he can think it and make it happen. A lot of directors and storytellers can't do that. They have a lot of problems translating things from one from thought to process, and he does it. So you could very well see Wolverine in that the craziest haircut where he's like got it all up in the air, and if I had to bet over or under, I would bet you're definitely going to see that costume, even though it'll probably be like a cameo in it or like a quick scene. I don't know if it'll be in the whole movie. I don't even know if he's going to be the Wolverine. I mean, I don't know. You guys probably know more of that than I do. All right, let's see. Nashville is a big tourist destination. Yeah, it is. Nashville's huge. A lot of wrestling events there. They got an NFL team there. You got the Grand Ole Opry is there. Oh, by the way, Nashville Predators are there. I watched a documentary on PBS about country music. It was like eight episodes long. I do not listen to country music, but Kim Burns can make me watch a documentary about AstroTurf growing.
Have you ever watched baseball?
Dude.
Ken Burns baseball?
Yes.
You ever watched the Civil War one? The Civil War one's fucking amazing.
The first one I watched, it's old. It's like 20 years old, and they had it on the other night, and I watched it. He had one on about this one was really dark. It was the Holocaust in the USA. It was showing you the evolution of the Holocaust leading up to World War II. I watched that and I'm like, wow, this is everything he does is deep. He did one for country music, and like I said, not making fun of country music. It's just not my thing. I just don't listen to it. I grew up in Southern California where there wasn't a lot of country music, but I always respected the fact that music out. But you watch
if you subscribe to PBS,
yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
If you subscribe to PBS through the Amazon Prime video app, you can get all of Ken Burns' documentaries.
Yeah, and I have it. I have because of course I have every app known to man.
I need to get baseball.
You know what?
I love that one.
I don't know who the jackass was with the Marty McSorley comment, but here he is.
Marty McSorley should have kept his practice stick on the bench. LOL. Never forget Robert Ory. ... Go Sharks.
Baseballs.
You know what else you should never forget, Brian? 2014 first round NHL playoffs.
I want you to shut up.
All right. Every Sharks fan, and when I see people walking,
we were up 3-0. 3-0.
It doesn't matter where I am. I could be at a Walmart. I could be at a game. I could be getting my mail. I could be doing anything. Walking the dog. I see that Sharks jersey, and that we lock eyes.
Shut up.
Me and Shark fan, we lock eyes.
I don't want to hear it. Because next year we went to the Cup.
Yeah, and what happened?
We lost.
Yeah.
See, Sharks suck. I mean, what do you want me to do? Okay.
These Vegas Golden Knights fans out there, when they swept the Kings that one year and they won every game by a goal, and Drew Doughty got suspended for a bogus penalty, which the rest didn't even call, which is fine. They tag me, Mr. Kings. And what I tell them, I want you to go to T-Mobile Arena. I want you to look up in the sky and see what you see. You see a conference championship banner. Listen, I am a fan of the Lakers and Kings and Dodgers. I don't believe in putting conference. That just means you lost. Every time I went down to Staples and saw that conference banner from 19, I didn't even want to look at it. It's up there with all the retired numbers. I didn't want to look. I could not look up there without being angry until 2012 when they hung their first banner. Now I can look up. But you know what? That's something that a Shark fan can't do. They've got conference banners up there.
They're gonna retire a number.
Whose?
Patrick Marleau.
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, no.
I'm
also a Sacramento Kings fan, and they don't have any banners either.
You should retire. You should retire one of the Kings numbers
retire Reggie Theus.
Oh yeah, he's got his.
Reggie
Theus was a great player. He came to UNLV. Reggie Theus was not a good coach, but
No, he wasn't a good coach. But no, he was a Kings retiree. Chris Webber, they retired his number. Chris Webber was good. I think they retired Bibby's and Vladdy's too, but I could be wrong. Most of that team from 2001 to 2002 is pretty best. And I think they even brought back Jason Williams, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, white chocolate.
I liked the Kings back then, man. The Kings were the shit.
Kings were a dangerous team back then. They were dangerous.
They were running gun, man. And it was fun to watch them play. Like, I loved watching the Kings play, man. It was exciting.
That 2002 team, put us through the motions.
We almost had you in Game 6. Remember that?
Almost. Once again, that's the difference. That's the Northern.
It's just like the Giants versus the fucking Angels in 2002.
It's the Northern California syndrome. You think you can do it? We know we can't.
I would agree with you, but there's two teams that broke that mold. Okay, that would be the San Francisco 49ers and the Giants. Okay, it took a while for the Giants to do it because they moved in the 60s. But I mean, it was like 56 years between championships.
The three worst American League teams to ever make a World Series, but that's okay.
Okay, well, first off, the second one where we swept the Detroit Tigers, that was amazing, especially when Sergio Romo, who was god awful that year, caught Miguel Cabrera looking at a strike 3.
Yeah, and then who else they faced? They faced the Rangers.
No, they faced the Rangers in 2010, and they barely beat the Royals in 2014. And it was because of Madison Bumgarner being completely lights out. I mean, his World Series ERA is like 30 ball era.
But then you look at what my Dodgers have had to go up against, the cheating Astros, who should have been stripped of that title.
And the
All right.
Giants that should have beat your ass last
The
year.
Giants, who should have never been facing the Dodgers that year in that round, and that's why you have counterfeit champions.
You
with
can't
that
have
Atlanta.
two teams in the same division go at it in the first round. I'm sorry. That applies to football too.
If you in NHL and the NFL will fix that, because if you look at the way the NBA has done it that way. If the team that didn't win the division meets a team that did win the division, the winner, the one who has a better record, has home field. 88 win Atlanta Braves team had home field advantage against 106 a win Dodger team that had to basically beat their brains out to beat 170, 107 a win Giants team. So even if the Giants would have advanced, they would have blown their rotation up just beating the Dodgers in the 5-game series. They wouldn't have been able to set their rotation, and they would have had to
lost to Atlanta.
Yeah, and so Atlanta. That's why this year is better because the Dodgers they have a bye. Atlanta they can't face each other. The two best teams can't face each other in the first round because they're both going to have one of them have a bye. So yeah, they kind of screwed me in. All right, Chappie, that's one thing I was going to ask you guys. The future of the MCU with almost 40 projects over the next 2 years, it seems like they're going for quantity and not quality approach. This is because as not Feige, but Chapek plays more of a hand in things. Because remember, when this all started, it was Feige. Everything began and ended with Feige, but he's not 100% calling the shots. He there's certain things he gets shut down on, and certain personnel that he can't get or can get, like with the whole Black Widow situation. It wasn't before he would have made the call as far as how she was handled with Scarlett Johansson. It wasn't. It was handled above him now. Iger and all those other guys just left it up to him, but he's under different management now. Plus, when you have okay, cool. Vine has to get up early. When you have so many things, sometimes success breeds, not necessarily the right results, simply because once you've shown that something has worked to a certain level, you want to go back to that well over and over again. And they're still putting out good stuff, but it's just a lot of it's out there. And you're starting to have issues with, not all of it being great. For every Loki, there's a Hawkeye.
Hey, I didn't hate Hawkeye like you did. So,
for every Wakanda Forever that's going to come out that I think is great, we had a Thor Love and Thunder. So it's gotten to the point where, and they've done it because they've gotten the benefit of the doubt so long. For a time, they were releasing so many good movies that the Captain Marvels slipped through and made good money because you gave Marvel the benefit of the doubt. But now it's gotten to the point with me. Out of all the movies I've seen from them, we're approaching 30 now. Half of them, to me, were movies that if I'd have known the quality of the movie going in, for the most part, I wouldn't have gone and seen them. But I went because I was on this infinity ride. For the most part, I was on the infinity ride, especially in the earlier phases. And I'm like, I got to go see this. This is must-see, movie making. And then it turns out that it's not really, that I could have really, especially with the advent of Disney Plus, there's a lot of Marvel movies out there that, I could have just waited for the 45 to 90-day window and just watched them on there. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, what's that? Am I going to watch that on any platform? No.
Well, I think, like I said before, look, I think it just depends on. There's so much content we're getting now from Marvel, and that's okay. But we should be able to, and at least with me, what I do is like I said, it's like going to a buffet. There's so much food out there, but I'm only going to eat so much of it, And I may come back to the buffet later and eat the other things that I didn't eat the first time, and that's fine. I think with streaming, this opens up way much more to wider production of things where you can do both movies and shows in a franchise. It just opens you up to more things. And I hate to say it, but more franchises are going to do this now with these streaming services. I mean, we're talking about now, they're talking about a separate show for Game of Thrones to just show Aegon's Conquest. And that just started getting talked about today. So, you're muted, William. William, you're muted. You're muted, William.
Yeah, it muted me. Wow, StreamYard, you're killing me tonight. I'm talking to StreamYard as it's like it's a person that can fix it themselves.
I know, right?
Okay, so when it comes to Game of Thrones, you're still in a safe place because we've only had the original Game of Thrones, and they've both been epic. There's been, with the exception of a couple episodes in season 8, for the most part, Game of Thrones has been excellent. It's been top tier. Well, you've had 30 Marvel movies,
but William,
and not all of them have been top tier.
But you know that here soon we're going to have all of these new Game of Thrones shows. You know, they're talking about the Jon Snow show. They're talking about the 10,000 Ships. They're talking about the Sea Snake show. There's going to be an animated Dunk and Egg show. And now, like I said, they're talking about doing a show about Aegon's conquest.
All the ones but Aegon Conquest, I would shit can, except for Snow. I want to see Snow because Snow has ability to fix the franchise if they do it right. The other ones, I think that they have plans for these, but here's the thing though. Right now, we're in a good place with Game of Thrones because everything that they put out has been great. It's not where I'm at with Marvel. Not everything that they put out has been great. Some of the stuff really is like, what? But
that's the thing. It's going to go that way, though, is what I'm trying to say. You know,
I don't know, simply because first of all, you can't do too many. I mean, it's so much money. I mean, Game of Thrones is so much more expensive to produce than an average movie. I mean, shit, House of the Dragon is like, holy cow. That's why whenever somebody told me Zaslav's going to cut, I'm like, ooh, hell no. Zaslav's going to spin on the Iron Throne. Now, you're right, though, because we could get to that point, and I'm hoping that there are caretakers of these franchises that do a better job of saying, okay, we're getting too heavy now. We're too many things going out. We're watering down the brand. I hope that there's somebody there that wasn't there for Marvel that can say, hey, hold up, let's stop, let's try.
I'm not saying that's entirely. I'm not saying it's entirely a bad thing, though. Okay, everybody has difference of opinion.
Game of Thrones. Yeah, we don't know what Game of Thrones yet.
Well, I'm saying I'm just saying with franchises in general. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You know, remember, we're only a small section of the conversation. Most regular people who are watching these franchises don't care. They're going to watch the movies they want to watch. They're going to watch the shows they want to watch, and they're not going to watch the rest of it. You know, it's only to us fans.
It all, though. You're still making it all, and with the MCU especially, everything you make connects with everything else you make. So even though they're not watching it all, it still affects your creativity as far as having to make it. Because, like I said, with this Mahershala Ali thing, that going the way it went affects not just that movie. Even if the average fan doesn't watch it all, it still affects how they're going to roll out their story because it's connected to so many things. So when you have that log jam of creative differences, I love that one, the old 80s band, how he left for creative differences, but we're still friends. But the creative differences thing, it creates a log jam because so many of these things are connected. All these phases are connected to everything else. So even for me, a guy like me, he's probably going to want to watch a quarter of the stuff in the movies. You know, they're still creating something that's supposed to be whole, but their whole is so convoluted now. It's like, oh, I don't want to eat this omelet now. I don't know. You might have put pineapple in that damn omelet, and you know how I feel about pineapples, but you stuff so much shit in a small space. That's what it is for me now. That it's like it's exhausting.
But that's what I'm saying, William, is where it may be exhausting for you, it's not exhausting for other people. I talk to a lot of people in my day, okay? Like you do, you know, you run your store, but I also talk to the public a lot. And I've had people, I've asked opinions on movies, you know, I've gotten the public's call on things, and most of the time they tell me, oh no, the amount of content that, you know, I've had a lot of people tell me the amount of content for Marvel is great for them.
But are they objectively giving you an opinion on the quality of it, though? Because going to see something and it being great are two different things. I paid for plenty of shitty movies that I wish I could have got my money back. And that,
well, I mean, I've had people talk to me about it objectively. Yes, of course. But most of the movie going public, and you yourself have said this in the past, they don't care. As long as it's pretty, shiny, and has a nice wrapper on it, they're just going to go watch it.
I don't know, man. I think you can saturate even the normal folk. Especially with streaming. If you put so much stuff out, okay, and the average person is like, all right, Thor: Love and Thunder wasn't that great. You know, I don't hate it. I'm not going to give you a bad opinion about it. But you know what? Next time I'm just going to wait for it to come on streaming. And now
I didn't. And see, that's the thing. Even though I'm defending Marcus, they are not shills. Dude, seriously?
you're getting attacked by the chat. Where's he at?
Seriously, Marcus, you're calling regular movie-going public the shills?
Yeah, get
Dude,
him, Marcus.
first of all, the word shill is overplayed. Second of all, no, they're just regular movie-going public. Like,
where are we at?
I don't get what you're going at there, Marcus. All I'm saying is, look, you either eat a buffet or you eat a specific menu, okay? And there's a lot of restaurants that do both. Okay, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Just in general, it's there. Okay, it doesn't bother me as much as it does other people.
Go to bed. I can't find Marcus's comment, but all right. So, I wouldn't use the word chill, but at the same time, I think there is a conditioning that has happened to the general audience, and for the most part, it worked for them. Now it's gotten to the point now, and that's what I mean, is because it worked for them on the front end, you've gotten carte blanche to put out some stuff that just ain't all that great. But
again, William, you're never going to change that because with the companies, as long as they're making money, they're going to pump as much content out there as they can. And some things, they're going to throw things at the wall, and either something's going to stick or it's not.
I think you'll have a problem with Game of Thrones, though, because look. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. We wanted to chase those two fools into a burning building after the last few episodes. Most Game of Thrones fans I know, at least. So I don't think that Game of Thrones fans are going to accept a watered down, congested product.
Yet I've heard the opposite recently, William. People are so enamored with House of Dragons that they're willing to let these other shows go.
But look what happened, though. We had to have a therapy session pretty much for the first couple of episodes because so many people were like, "Oh, I don't know," and then everybody jumped on, and now you had 28 million views. But for the last 3 years, I've heard nothing but I wanted to cut these guys' balls off. I hated the way that show ended. Every Thrones person I ran into was like, "Oh, I don't know about this show," and then as they saw House of Dragons, that was different. But when you see how most people reacted to the last few episodes of season 8. I don't think, like I said, I think Game of Thrones, everything they put out has to be high quality. They can't have a Captain Marvel, right? They can't have a Love and Thunder. I don't think, dude, the Iron Throne cult holds them to a standard that I don't think a lot of other franchise does it well. Star Wars does it, but it becomes toxic. Game of Thrones fans, I don't think are toxic, but they just accept there's a certain standard. I don't think you can saturate. So these shows that are coming out, which is, if they all come out, they have to be good. They all have to be House of Dragons level. And most franchises have not been doing that. They've just been putting shit out. You see what I mean?
And that's the thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but again, I just think that I think that the movie-going public doesn't think as deeply about it as we do. I like some of the same stuff I do. They're either going to watch it or they're not. If the story is compelling, then they're going to watch it. If it's not, then they're gonna skip it. Okay.
I don't think it's being that deep. I think it's more of a conditioning. I don't think it's even them. A lot of people thinking. Now, I'm not going to call them shills, but I think that certain companies have done a good job in conditioning their fans to go out and see shit, even if it ain't even good. You know what I mean? I know you don't necessarily have that with Game of Thrones, so I don't think Game of Thrones will reach the inundation. But like I said, I could be wrong. We could end up watching Jon Snow could be a Saturday Night Live skit, and everybody ends up hating it. So who knows? But we don't have right now. We only have the 2 shows to judge Game of Thrones on. Oh, my fantasy football team! It better not be an injury. God damn it!
By the way, Chappie, to answer your question, I think as long as movies and MCU stuff, well, I think as long as Disney products are doing well, Chapek will hold for as long as the board accepts that he's still there.
Can you highlight comments, or is that just me?
Unfortunately, only you can.
Okay, because I don't see where you're at. I want to be able to highlight the content.
Marcus, the general audience pays more than the hardcore fans do. We are outnumbered as hardcore fans. We are outnumbered by the general populace, and that's always going to be that way.
All right, where's Marcus?
Very bottom comment. Very bottom comment.
Oh, I'm so far behind. I'm at the Alf comments. All right. Okay. Who needs a general audience when you have the hardcore fan? All right, Marcus. Here's where I'll disagree with you. We make up 3%, unfortunately, when it comes to comic book movies. Game of Thrones, it's different. Game of Thrones is different because Game of Thrones is a broader cross section of just society in general. But us comic book geeks, the guys you see rolling around like this and playing with stuff like this, we're the 3%ers, what I like to call us. However, though, where I will agree is, or not agree, but what I'm saying is that even that general audience can be conditioned to a certain point to where no, they're not the 3%ers like us on the screen, but they buy into a lot of things. They become as much a part of the problem, like, because in my opinion, like I said, a mediocre movie can keep the train rolling because of other movies that, like I said, Captain Marvel is my prime example of that. That's a mediocre movie that made $1 billion. All right, that when the movies make that money, that money has influence on other projects and other stories being told.
And that's the thing, William. What you may think is a mediocre movie, the movie-going public might have liked. It all comes down to perception. Okay. For one man's trash is another man's treasure. Whether you think that's correct or not, it's the simple fact that there were people who did like Captain Marvel.
We're gonna have to get some of them on the show too.
I have talked to people that liked Captain Marvel.
Because I had a bunch, like I said, I had a theater full of people that were looking at me cross-eyed, wondering why they were even at this movie, even though not a damn one of them paid for it. Top Gun was, what did he say? Top Gun was boomer porn?
But that's the thing. Top Gun was boomer porn. Yeah.
I'm not a boomer. I'm a Generation Xer, and I love Top Gun. That was my movie. Let's see. But yeah, like I said, it's all subjective. But you also got to look at, like, part of the things I do is I look at the market, and because a lot of it dictates what we're able to do. And it's not just me, like in my little town of Las Vegas. I get on the phone. We meet with other people that are, because we're trying to develop marketing campaigns for these things. And I'll talk to a guy who's doing the same thing in New York or Minnesota or Missouri, or like that. We'll get in the chat room and say, hey, how did your audience take it? What was the percentage of your audience? Like the Batman was a prime example. We ran into so many people that didn't understand why Pattinson was even Batman. Some of those people in every market that we were talking about were looking for Ben Affleck, and I'm not kidding. They were not on the. Is that a black Christmas tree?
It is, and it lights up. It has fiber optics in it.
Oh wow!
Happy holidays, friend.
Hey, well, we're close enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had people that were like, why something's happening in Captain Marvel, same thing. I mean, the response we got was like it's a mid-level movie, mid-tier, not horrible. So I am going through, different levels of, people, not the entire nation, of course, but you get the sense that they could have done better with that one. But once again, made $1 billion, so everything's okay. Whereas, say for instance, a DC movie, if it didn't make $1 billion, everybody hated it, and that's what I mean. You can't, it's subjective to a point. So,
yeah, well, and again, what I said is all comes down to perception, and that's what I'm having trouble getting. Yeah. And that's what I'm having trouble getting our fellow fandom to understand. What you may think that a thing is woke or stupid or there was no need for it or I didn't ask for this, when there's other people that have,
Hardcore Henry, have you seen this movie?
No, I have never seen that movie. I don't even know what you're talking about.
It sounds like something I can watch to get the monsters out of my head.
Maybe.
Wow. All right, let's see. The only way to enjoy Captain Marvel is to watch it while drunk. I don't drink alcohol.
That's your perception. Again, fun. That's your perception. And like I said, everybody's perception is different. There were people that liked Captain Marvel. There are people that don't.
Can I watch it under Benadryl? Maybe it'll be better. All right, Marcus. Yeah, that's what I got. I got some people in the store, guys. Everybody wave hi. Hey, wave hi.
Hello.
What's
You
up?
can't see it. You can't. Can you see him?
Yeah, I can see him.
There you go.
Hello, everybody.
Now the camera will be fucked up for the rest of the night. Oh no, hey, I'm not green. Every time I move that old camera, I turn green.
What do you mean that's not true, Marcus? It is absolutely true. It's all based on perception, dude. Your perception is different than everybody else's.
Where are you?
I don't see what you mean by that. 3 up from the bottom, William.
I got to get you permissions to so you can highlight shit.
Yeah. No, Marcus. Again, it's all based on perception.
It is, and like I said, and to that point, the perception of the Marvel machine to me was better than the actual machine itself. That's my perception. It's all individual basis because, like I said, I think because people perceive some of these movies as being great all the time, that they're always going to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know what? That's fine. When you win and you do well for the majority of the time, you kind of deserve that benefit of the doubt. For a guy like me who watches all of them, I'm like, I don't, 2 hours of my time and my money. So yeah, perception is a big deal of all this. And Black Adam could change the entire perception of anything going forward with DC.
Well, it's like with me. I'm going to watch Black Adam simply because I like the Justice Society.
You know what? How old are you?
I'm 47. You're 48. So
how, dude? You in this? I think that's going to be one of the weak points of the movie. They look great, but I'm wondering how they're going to market the Justice Society, and they haven't been marketing this movie very well up until this point.
Okay, do you know why? Okay, look, when I got into DC, reading DC comics when I was younger, my first comic book was a Batman comic, and it was a miniseries, and the miniseries was called The Untold Story of the Batman. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yep, I've heard of it.
But it was the one where his dad was Batman first, where he had the costume that he did to the costume party, and he ended up stopping a crime or whatever. And
they've kind of used that story over and over again too. By the way, I know what you're talking about.
That was my very first experience with comic books. Okay, and I, right after that, I found Spider-Man and I found the X-Men, and I steamrolled from there. But when I first got into comic books, there was this about 10 years after I got into comic books, there was this comic book card set that was a DC set, and it was gray bordered, and it showed characters, and it showed comic series, and it showed them from like the gold. It had like a section of the set was Golden Age part of the set, then it was Silver Age, then it was Current Age at the time, which was Bronze Age. And I just found the stories from the stuff that was like the Golden Age characters, the JSA and all of that was just more interesting to me than Silver Age stuff.
Oh no, and I'm not. They are very interesting, but it's like they're so, in comparison, they've always been so hard to market because of the fact that the Justice League has been considered the main team, even though they came before, and they've just never done. They could never do a good job with them, and they just now that you have them in this big budget movie, and I'm sorry, but Black Adam's marketing is not, especially if you're going to use the Justice Society. You really needed to be getting people educated on Dr. Fate, Hawkman, all these entire situations. You even needed to have them going back and taking up doing Crisis and things like that, and why these things exist, why they exist. They haven't done any of that. I'm worried about this movie, not this quality. I'm worried the fact that they have not branded the Justice Society onto the skulls of people, that are just coming along to see it, because I really think they're missing out on an opportunity. The Justice Society is very interesting. Up to current days, I mean, the stuff that they did in Infinite Crisis was the only thing that was good about that storyline, besides the actual main book itself. There's a lot
William,
you can do with them.
William, I have to answer to something in the chat again. Marcus, stop it with the shill talk. I've taken it. I've had it up to here with it. If you do not stop, I will time you out, and I do have that ability.
That's not time.
So,
what is he saying? What is
stop.
That? He's got a market. Where is he at? Let's see. Oh, I really want to get on that comment, but hold on. Let me go. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we're not shills, especially me. I don't think there's any shills on here. The shills are we stream with shills, but there's no one here. Where was I at with that one comment?
Was it one of what was the comment? Hold on.
I was the Deadpool about not being for everybody. Yeah, and that's where I left Deadpool. Like I said, I don't hate Deadpool. I don't hate watch Deadpool. I just don't find it. It just does not appeal to me, and so I just left it there. But I'm not one of those guys. If I don't like something, I just simply don't watch it. If I don't like something, I'm not going to do a stream about, oh, wow. And, any guys who are like anti-women or streaming about anything that has a woman in it that is, for heaven forbid, she's in a main role or something like that. I want the whole I Love Lucy relationship. And even that wasn't that way back then, It was just, it's kind of ridiculous. So, shills are those kind of guys who put that kind of focus on it. I'm not. It's imaginary characters, guys. We're talking about people who ride dragons that don't exist and put on costumes and don't exist and can breathe underwater and all kinds of just crazy stuff. So I wouldn't take it
seriously.
that far. All right, but let's see. Oh, who brought this up? Stella. I know, but it's people like RJ who shill. I mean, you know what? Hey, listen, I have a policy. I don't know if we can move that off here. I have a policy when it comes to other YouTubers. I know RJ, respect him. We've been on each other's streams, but he's not on this stream right now. So I generally, you notice I never bring up another YouTuber on our show unless they're on our screen. It's just
there's a reason why we don't do that.
Yeah, and I don't hate watch. Like I know other people have bought in other streams that they can watch other people's streams on their stream. I'm like, for better or for worse, you tuned in to see me. I'm like, you can go watch that guy whenever. No, like I said, RJ is great. He has his opinion, but if he's not on my screen, I generally don't really bring it up there. So, all right. So, RJ isn't here. So, like I said, it's not fair to attack him if he's not, he's not on the stream. It's past his bedtime. All right, Marcus Cruz. First, you call him a marble shield, then you call him an idiot for not. Yeah, no call anybody idiots, man. Shill's a description. Idiot's an insult, so don't do that. All right, so let's see. I love Shang-Chi. Actually, Shang-Chi is pretty good. Legend of the Ten Rings is really good.
Okay. That's an example right there. That's an example. My mentor that passed away earlier this year. Okay, he did not watch any of the Marvel movies. Didn't like them. Okay. He walked in and saw another friend and I watching Shang-Chi. And he actually sat down and he was like, wow, that's an amazing movie. Oh, Vulcan ears. But no, this is an example of a normie that wasn't a fan that actually enjoyed a Marvel movie when he never watched any of the rest of them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And it's a movie that you guys are saying is mediocre at best, and that's Shang-Chi. He loved it. Just walking in and watching me and another friend watching it.
Well, somebody else said Shang-Chi, not me. I love Shang-Chi. I thought it was.
Yeah, somebody else said it, not you. Not you.
Yeah, and then
Shang-Chi was actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it was kind of underrated, but because of when it came out, pandemic and all that stuff. But it was actually, I actually like Shang-Chi, and actually, they once again that's one that they've used to tell different stories. You mean throughout with the story that they're telling. So. All right, let's see. Once again, I'm not going to refer to anybody who's not currently on the screen. Wow, RJ's getting hit. He's not even here. Poor guy.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know what? That's every movie ever made. It's true. So yeah, I could. Shang-Chi could have been better, but as it was, I thought it was. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was because at that point, I was at that. Okay, I'm going to see this movie just to check this off the box. It's not, I'm just, that's not pleasantly surprised.
And let me make it very clear. Even though I like a lot of the Marvel stuff, doesn't mean I like all of it. I thought Black Widow was atrocious. I couldn't get through but half of Eternals. There have been.
Eternals wasn't bad. They just missed a lot of stuff in Eternals. And once Erisham started talking, I was like, oh man, what the hell? They kind of took
okay, Marcus. Marvel movies didn't ruin cinema. Cinema ruined cinema.
Oh, now he sounds like you know who else shares that opinion?
Yeah, Scorsese. Who, by the way, Scorsese clapped. Scorsese clapped about a Marvel movie during award shows. So
Yeah. I think he's mad that some of his movies didn't win his Oscars because that's all he's in it for right now is legacy. He's got all the money in the world. He's
yeah,
this is for
exactly.
Oscars. This is for Oscars. And I thought that I think he knew he was full of shit when he said that. But once again, you say something in 2020, it's on Twitter, it's forever, it's immortal. You might as well get it tattooed on your tongue because it's
Look,
sticks with you. I think he just said some dumb shit and then he did. I don't even think he believes that, to be honest with you.
no, he probably doesn't. And even if he does, he's Scorsese. That guy could say that he shit rare gold and people would believe him. Okay.
Yeah. He might. But his funny thing about it is some of the people who make these comic book movies are people that he's worked with and mentored. And so it's like you're really making fun of some of these directors are Academy Award level. Nolan is Academy Award nominated guy. I mean, Ryan Coogler was nominated. I mean, they're comic book movies, but they are still good movies. Like Wakanda Forever is going to be, I think, is going to be up there in the Academy, an Oscar conversation from just judging from the from what I saw.
It's going to be. It's going to be.
Let me answer this Kang question real quick because the things start scrolling on my old eyes. Hey William, how do you think King's Dynasty in one film? I don't think they will do it in one. I think King's Dynasty will be a movie, but I think there's going to be things that lead up to King's Dynasty. I think Ant-Man and the Lost Quantum Realm,
Quantumania.
That's going to lead to it. I think that that's going to be the culmination movie. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff because Kang is such a complicated character that it's not just Kang you're dealing with. You're dealing with Immortus. You're dealing with the Scars of Turian. You're dealing with Ramatut.
And that's going to lead directly into Secret Wars.
And that also is probably, in my opinion, going to lead directly to your first mutant because remember who and how they've retconned it. Who discovered Apocalypse was Ramatut when he was fleeing Kang from the 30th century. He went back because he knew that was the first mutant, and that's where he cultivated the power and the Celestials and all that. So I don't think, to answer your question, Rational, I don't think that it is going to be just one film. I think it is going to be the bookend to a lot of other things that lead up to it, including TV shows. Because remember, Kang has his fingers in Loki as well, and we have another season of that coming up soon. So by the time you get to Kang Dynasty, I think we'll have a lot more pieces in place, and it won't all have to take place in one movie. Marcus, it's going to be 3 films, but one of them will be King Dynasty, and the rest of them will be other movies that he'll be in because once they introduce him, he's going to be in other movies. So, all right, so let's see. All right, closing being interesting show. I'm just skipping all the other show stuff because we're beyond that. They should have Kung Fu Hustle guy direct Shang-Chi.
Daniel Destin Craig actually did really good with Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be directing Kang Dynasty. So I think he'll do okay because Shang-Chi was surprisingly good. I wasn't much of a fan of Shang-Chi in the comics, and I wasn't expecting much from that movie, and I was pleasantly surprised.
There was nothing to it. Dude, that is one of the characters that has made a drastic improvement from being in a movie. Shang-Chi was a soon-to-be canceled book. Every time I saw that on my list, or they would send me one of those samples, we're doing a new Master of Kung Fu. I'm like, okay, so what you want is you want to increase my quarter bin because you're going to cancel the comic after 6 or 7 issues. They would put him in Marvel Comics Shazams, and it weren't bad storylines, but even you look at Shang-Chi, he just wasn't on his own a character that was appealing to anybody. Everything he's been in was canceled, but he it wasn't because the character wasn't quality, because there just wasn't anything. I wish they would have had the imagination to do with him in the comics. What they did in the movies was excellent. The mystical nature of everything he's doing and the way they connected him to those fight scenes are great. I mean, so yeah. When I heard Shang-Chi was going to be a movie, I'm like, okay, here's another movie that I'm going to be basically paying money to go see for an end credit scene, and it turned out to be one of the better Marvel movies they put out. So
it was great.
Pleasantly surprised. So all right,
I loved it. It was surprising to me.
All right, so I am going to take a quick 30-second break because I have guests in the store and I've been ignoring her this whole time. So Fade, you get to talk about whatever you want for 2 minutes.
Okay, you're good.
And everybody listening, I apologize in advance for you having to listen to Fade talk for 2. No, I'm just kidding.
William. Anyway. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and pick up some of these questions for William. Rational Skeptic. I think that Darkseid will probably still continue to be the DCEU's main villain. I just think we've got to see where this whole thing with Black Adam and Shazam and Flash goes. New World Order, Alf Jeebus, is going to involve the leader and possibly this stuff that they're setting up with the intelligentsia through She-Hulk. And it's going to involve the Thunderbolts is getting their own thing, but they might be involved because I think they're involved with the intelligentsia. See here, what other? Question. I don't think the X-Men are going to be a major thing until after Secret Wars. I think that's what the third phase, the third set of movies is going to be. The third saga is going to be about. They're leaning really hard into the Avengers versus X-Men for that saga. What's up, Anthony Grigsby? Welcome.
Hey, all right, shut up, Fade. I'm just kidding. Look, one of my associates bought me a back massager. This is the one exactly.
Oh, that's
like the one
awesome.
I had. And
that's
because
awesome.
I'm so big and heavy that I stripped out one of the little ball things, so it doesn't work anymore. So the one I've had to like put in different positions just to get full. This makes my day. Forget about comic book movies,
awesome.
wrestling, everything. I now have a functioning back massager. Okay, back to you, Fade.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing? Good to see you. You might actually have something there, Chappie, with David Leitch for Blade. I think he might do good with that one. What's making you happy tonight, Michelle? I'm all ears. I don't think they're going to drop the X-Men name entirely, Marcus, simply because that's name recognition. Sam Raimi would also do good with Blade. I do agree, Rational Skeptic. Oh, that is awesome, Michelle. I saw those. I can't say I'm into the whole Arcane thing, but they are really nice figures. So, congrats. Hope you enjoy them. Oh, by the way, Anthony, if I didn't tell you happy birthday the other day, I didn't forget. Just happy birthday, brother. You were going to guess booze. That would be an interesting guess. Not a problem, Anthony. Not a problem. Hope it's a good one for you. My birthday was recent, a couple of weeks ago. It was the 18th of September. So, any other Marvel or DC questions, people? Hit me with them while I'm here. Gives me something to talk about. I'm not sure about Eisenberg, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Porter has job security when it comes to Darkseid. He is a awesome person. I've actually had the chance to talk to him on one of the streams with Enosh. So he is. I think he has job security. Plus, he's just a damn good voice actor. So, as for Eisenberg, I don't know. I know a lot of people weren't thrilled with him being Lex Luthor, but that could change. I don't know. It just depends. He wasn't my favorite Lex Luthor. My favorite Lex Luthor was Michael Rosenbaum. This week's She-Hulk was interesting. Yeah, I saw that earlier, Chappie. I do agree that David Leitch might make a good Blade director. Uh, he's done some good work in the past. For voice acting, yes, Clancy Brown was the best Lex, but Michael Rosenbaum was the best on-screen live-action Lex, in my opinion.
Excuse me, are we violating the ban list by bringing up animation? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Okay.
WB needs to be upfront with what's going on with our DC live-action characters like Eisenberg, Lex, and Cavill. Yes, they do, Rational Skeptic. I will completely agree. They do need to be more upfront with us with what's going on.
Give them some more time, though. If we're still in this situation 6 months from now and we don't know anything, and we're heading into Flash and past Black Adam, and we still are asking these questions, then roast them. But the more I hear from what we're having to go through, the more I realize just how bad the situation was prior to the Discovery merger. So at some point, I think it's going to be outletting of a lot of information simply because they're setting their table now. You know, I don't think it's always going to be to the point where we're going to see Superman again, where we're going to see Batman again. I think at some point, I think it's going to have to after Black Adam. But I say, to answer this question, give them a little bit more time. They've only been in charge for what, 3 months, 4 months now.
Yeah.
I mean, their predecessors had 9 years to fuck up the company. I'm going to give these guys a little bit more time. I wish they would be more forthcoming. I wish there would have been a DC fandom, but given the chaos, they want to get it right. You know, they seem intent on getting things right instead of getting them out faster. So I'm all for that. So,
and look, Zaslav inherited a shit show, okay, and that's just something that we have to be more understanding about as fans. Like William said, they the previous regime had 9 years to screw up everything, and they quite well did. So we need to be a little bit patient with them, but I do wish they'd be a little bit more upfront with us. Yeah, and that's the problem. Hamada caused a lot of issues. Him and Emmerich. Exactly, Stella. It does take time to right the ship, and it's going to take time to right the ship. Very much so.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I'm literally open right now.
Okay, man. Take care of your business, man. I'm here.
All right. So
I'm
where
just
were we?
answering questions. We're still talking about WB and them righting the ship. And like Stella said, it takes time to right the ship. It just does.
Yeah, and I'm encouraged by what I'm hearing, even though I know a lot of people are upset about seeing some things taken off. It's just when you inherit something that was hemorrhaging to the point where you're that much in debt, you just part of riding the ship is stopping that hemorrhaging. So it's not comfortable, but it's like surgery. There's going to be some pain, even under anesthesia. There's going to be some pain. If you want to save the leg, you got it. There's going to be some pain. You know, we want to save the company. We want to get the company getting out good stuff. Then let's give them some time. Like I said, if we're still disappointed or we're still wanting for answers 6 months from now, going into Flash, we're going to have some issues. I already have a little bit of issues, but they're understandable. I have issues with Black Adam not being promoted as much as I think it should be promoted. But you also got to realize they inherited even that situation. So they want to get it right. So, all right. So let's see.
Marcus. That's a She-Hulk thing. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, they dated in the comics somewhat, but I don't know that that's going to happen. I think he's just going to be a cameo character in the last couple episodes. Why did they greenlight films for B and C-list characters before doing Man of Steel 2? Because the previous regime was moronic. And I think that they threw a lot of those things in at the end as they were on the way out just to confuse the issue for Zaslav and their people.
Okay, I got a different answer to that. Yours is right, but here's another right. There's actually many right answers to this question. All right, so after you had egos involved and guys like Johns and later on Hamada, but like John and Kevin T. Sharp, guys like that, who wanted to validate their decision to change course from what Zack Snyder was doing. All right. And unfortunately for them, they had mishandled so many of the main characters. They could not go back to those characters because the demand for those characters under a certain storyline were still there. There was no way they were ever going to come in. No one was going to buy another Superman or another Batman as part of a connected universe, Pattinson aside. And every time that you dealt with these characters, you were going to have to answer the question of why did you fuck this up in the begin with? Why did I never get an ending to the story you started on? So their workaround, in my opinion, was to do other characters, other B and C and D list characters, and working if they wanted to work in that same universe, that gave them the ability to work in the same connected universe without dealing with the characters that they screwed up with. And because they could not readdress those characters because that was still Zack Snyder's aura. Those were still Zack Snyder's characters. He casted those characters. He told the most prevalent stories in those characters. And if they were going to change course, they couldn't then go back and admit that they were wrong by going back and following through with those characters. It's the same reason why they tell you Peacemaker's numbers were the greatest thing in the world. And I love Peacemaker. I thought it rounded out to a great series. But the reason why we heard about Peacemakers doing so great and we heard nothing about Zack Snyder's Justice League is because that regime had to validate them even greenlighting that to begin with. So once again, we're talking about B and C characters that they made and the Blue Beetles and all these other things. It's like they're dancing around the edges and not getting to the heart of the matter. The heart of the matter is Superman. The heart of the matter is Wonder Woman. The heart of the matter is Batman. And they had messed up so bad they could not go back to those characters. They created not toxicity from the fans. They created a toxic element for themselves. It's like they fucked up a part of their house. Didn't you ever fuck up a part of the house? You just don't even want to go in there anymore. You try to do a project, you put holes in the wall. It looks like shit. You know what? I don't feel like dealing with that now. I can't deal with that now. I'm just going to close the door. That's basically what they did. They closed the door on their alpha characters because they had messed up so bad with them that's how we got B's and C's and D's. When you really need to do the other way around, everything is there because the alphas. All right. Blue Beetle exists. Booster Gold exists because of their association with the Justice League. All right. 63% of all comic book characters during one stretch either appeared in a Justice League book or appeared in a Justice League members book. That's how much power that, the shadow that the Trinity and the associated characters like Green Lantern are associated. They couldn't understand that. Zack Snyder understood that. They didn't understand it. David Zaslav seems to understand that. So that's my answer. State's answer is right, but there's multiple right answers to that question.
And also to answer your question, Marcus, I do watch anime, but not a lot of the newer stuff.
I need to start because we're putting in an anime section here. And one of the reasons why I held off for years is because I wasn't a subject matter expert of it. So now I have to become one.
Some of my favorite anime is 20, 30 years old. I loved Robotech. I loved Macross. I loved a show called Slayers.
Macross I watched the original movie, the 82 movie.
Yeah. Oh. Well, Robotech, what became Robotech in America started out as 3 different shows. It started out as Genesis Climber Neo, Southern Cross, and Macross in Japan.
Yep.
And those 3 shows
I got Macross on VHS.
Now, my favorite anything that deals with Robotech is Macross Plus, which is an amazing story. I also watch things like Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha, stuff like that from the 90s.
For me, it was Macross, and then later in life, in mid 80s and 90s, I started watching Robotech, and then I watched the Sentinels, and I watched Generation. I mean, I love the Invid storyline. I love the Zentradi storyline. The way they told that story in America here, I was hooked on a lot of that stuff. So But then I kind of tailed off when it came to anime with, Viz Comics and all that. There's so much out there. And right now I'm re-engineering my store to carry anime because that's one of the top search engine stuff. When people are looking for the Sci-Fi Center, they're looking for anime. And so now I have to start carrying it. So
Right.
let's see.
Now, okay, so on that, God, I hope so. A World's Finest with Henry Cavill as Superman and Ben Affleck as Batman would be amazing.
Yeah.
To answer Michelle's question after, well, hold on.
Before
some of those are just comments.
Yeah.
To answer your thing about the rumor of Cavill being the lead choice for Highlander, it's a little bit more than a rumor. He has been in talks with the people that are making the Highlander reboot to actually play Connor McLeod.
Okay. Alf, and I'm gonna go right with it. Henry Cavill has been busy with Witcher. Yeah, but here's the thing, man. And I've always said, remember when the Marvel rumor came up and he was gonna be Hyperion or super whatever, and people were like, well, if he does that, he can't do this. I'm like, are you serious? Dude, these guys are gonna. Henry Cavill was 39 years old and he looks great. He's going to take all that cheddar. His agent is going to make all that money. They are going to schedule these things. They're going to schedule these things so that they can do everything that they want him to do. They're going to film things. So say The Witcher's being filmed at this lot. Guess what? All that stuff is being filmed in London. A lot of it's being filmed in the same lot, in the same sound studios, in the same volumes. A lot of that stuff is using common areas. So guess what? You can film this here, this scene. There are people who make millions of dollars a year that make this happen. So, and Henry Cavill just sits in that chair, gets that makeup on, gets that white wig on, takes that money and does his thing, gets on a plane, comes back here, does whatever. They'll make it happen. Yeah, he'll be busy. And I'm not, saying this in response to Alex Jesus, but I've heard this before because people think that because he's mentioned in multiple projects that he won't be able to do certain ones. Dude, you have two hands to take money, use them. And he is at the point in his career where who knows how long he's going to look like this. He looks great. 39 years old. Not everybody's going to be The Rock. So he's probably got about good 15 years of just making this kind of money and being able to demand top dollar too. And that's another thing. You don't know how long as an actor you're going to be able to demand top dollar. And right now he's at his prime. So if he'd have gotten a Marvel job, I think he would have just done that Marvel job. And people, he can't be Superman. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? Because he's playing the A character here. How's he going to play a character here? Because he's got an audience.
He can.
Yeah, he's got an
because he can.
That DC audience going to pay, and that Marvel audience going to pay to see him. And I told you, the MILF magnets. All right, the MILF magnets like this, they don't care about all this. They're MILF magnets. That's your general audience money right there. MILF magnets are going to see Cavill. They're going to see him. They don't care whether he's wearing a red S on his chest or whether he's wearing an S on his buckle or for Sentry or whatever goofy Marvel character that Captain Britain. They don't care.
Dude, I would love to see Henry as Captain Britain. I think he'd do a great Brian Braddock.
Yeah, I think he would do great in anything. And then Highlander, I fully expect him to be Highlander. Highlander's going to have some problems, though. I think Highlander's going to have some problems. I think the Crow remake is going to have problems.
They just wrapped on the Crow remake, by the way.
Yeah. And from everything I've heard, I'm not saying that the quality of these movies are going to be anything less than stellar, by the way. What I'm saying is that the Crow is a byproduct of the mid-90s and that music, that scene, that feeling, that vibe. I do not know if you can capture that again. Good luck. Maybe they can. Maybe I'm wrong. When it comes to Highlander is the epitome of a mid-80s movie. That Queen soundtrack, that whole that storytelling is. Maybe I'm wrong. And I'll go see them both. Because guess what?
I think it depends. I think it depends really on the actor they get to highlight that movie. Because I remember when the series was out and it was really getting good numbers. Obviously it did well. They did 6 freaking seasons of that show,
Yeah, that show was supposed to be canceled. Remember, they put that shit on when I was in California. They put that on 11 o'clock after the news, 11:30. It was on 11:30 on Sunday nights when it was in its first run on Fox or KTL, wherever I was. And I'm like, I like the show, but I got to watch as much of it possible. It's going to get canceled. And no, 6 seasons for that makes me feel a little bit better about Alf getting anything. But 6 seasons for that show, a show I like that I didn't have the kiss of death on. I love that show, man. Duncan MacLeod of the Clam. Oh, I love that show. They got
And you have
kind
to
of
admit,
towards the end.
Adrian Paul did really good as Duncan.
He did excellent. Remember, he was just in War of the Worlds. It was another series that didn't get a lot of
Yeah.
time. Oh.
And he did so well. He did so well as Duncan MacLeod that show got a movie tie-in with Connor MacLeod.
Yeah,
Highlander Endgame.
It wasn't good, but it was cool to see them on the stream together. When technically that shouldn't have happened. Actually, technically, the timeline. That's one show that did not give a rat's ass about canon and time because. Okay, so one of them was the only one. So how is your cousin or whatever? How is he alive if you've gotten the prize? I mean, so I forgave him though. I forgave him because I just wanted to see more Highlander until more Highlander met bad Highlander. Then I'm like, oh, the source. Oh my god, can I take my own eyes out? Oh, and then
Look.
Highlander 2.
Technically, none of those movies after that series should have been that first movie one and done if they did that storyline right.
Yeah,
because he won the prize. He was it.
Exactly. All right, Chappie, William and Thay, crossing my fingers, hoping we get a Ben Affleck Batman movie in a theater or HBO Max with Warner Brothers Discovery and Control, Alan Horn Control. I can hope that too. I don't know what the odds of that are happening, but you know what? You got Alan Horn back. You got Ben Affleck who wanted to do the role, wanted to play the role. People are saying, well, he was tired of Batman. I think he was tired of a lot of things. I think he was tired. He was being worn down by a marital situation he was going to, an alcohol situation he was going to, and bad management from Warner Brothers. He's in a better situation now. He's married to J-Lo. That alone. By the way, fuck you guys. And he's, once again, looking in your 50s, looking like that. Why I look like this? Fuck all of you guys, all right? J-Lo's 52 years old. That's not fair. Ben Affleck's 50-something years. Not fair, but that's a stream. We're going to have a stream where I go after everybody who's up north of 50 and looks better than I do. Damn it. Anyway, so he's married to J-Lo. He's married to J-Lo. He's in a good spot right now. There's better management at DC. Alan Horn.
Dude, it's just good to see Ben smile again. It's just good to see Ben smile again because he hasn't smiled for a very long time.
Meme where he's smoking? Instead of the meme where he's just like smoking outside. I'm so sick of that meme. Every time it's like when my coworker calls me and it's Ben Affleck smoking. I don't even know what is that from? All right,
he was having a really bad day.
Oh, so that's not even from a movie. That's just a picture.
No, that's just him having a really. Somebody caught that picture of him, and apparently he was just having a really bad day.
He needed a cigarette, poor guy, and then the paparazzi was on his ass.
It's like the sad Keanu. It's like the sad Keanu Reeves meme where he's sitting on the bench by himself.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Rational Skeptic, William and Thade. If WBD keeps Affleck as Batman for the DCU, what do they do at Reeves Batman, and how do you market the two prime Batman without confusing audience? You actually market them. What they didn't do with the Batman is they didn't want to touch the character that they fucked up with, because like I said, it's that ugly room in the house that you want to wish that it wasn't there. You market them. I think fans will follow the breadcrumbs that you lay out for them.
You know, William, you've said in the past, and I agree with you on this, that they should do Elseworlds with that.
Yeah, that's right.
They should market it as Elseworld stories.
Yeah, so they have their core universe, which is your connected universe with the DCEU, however you want to call it, and then you have your Elseworlds tells, and you market them that way. To me, I would brand it that way. Every time that you saw Matt Reeves of Batman, you would see the old Elseworlds emblem that they used to have. Every time you saw the DC Extended Universe, you would have that. And if you had an HBO Max universe, like I said, you would do like the like Game of Thrones or Potter, where you have the different clans and different houses. You know what? The house, HBO Max is its own sigil, its own logo. Everything else comes from that. The movies, everything else. And you let them know that this is a separate universe, and you constantly stamp that in people's heads. Unlike the multiverse, if Marvel can lay out the multiverse and not necessarily confuse everything, and there's a lot to be confused there, you can take your core characters and say, hey, this is a different universe than where we're at, and we're branding. And when you brand the universe first, and then the characters that come out of it, it's a lot easier. So if you say we're establishing an Elseworlds, and this character, before you even do a movie, so we're going to do a Wonder Woman Dead Earth, and it's going to come from this Elseworlds / Black Label thing, and you groove them, you condition your customer to understand the world before they understand, they know who the characters are. The characters become a tool to tell whatever story that universe is telling, whether it's a one-off, or if you want to make a Black Label universe or something like that. If you just want to do a one-off and it's just, the sequels within that, then that's how you brand it. You let them know going out. But if you want to have any universe that you want to let the fans know about, you brand that universe and you let the fans know, guess what's coming. And before I even announce any characters from there, another character beyond the Batman, if I want to do anything, Wonder Woman, Dead Earth, if I want to do the Question and I want to do a Black Label style, I let you know you are going to have the words Black Label or Elseworlds on the tip of your tongue. It's going to be like a language. And then once you know the language, I'm going to start giving you the stuff to read in that language. That's what they need to do. They need to brand the universes so that you know anything that comes out of here is for here. Anything that comes out of here is for there. They can do that. They have not done that. And that was one of the biggest problems that could have solved. Everyone could have had their cake and ate it too, but they just were so stupid about it, and they didn't want to touch the characters that they screwed up with. Instead of saying, you know what, we're going to go in this direction. And there's no such thing. If you confusing and all that, when you release these movies, so say if I'm going to release a Ben Affleck movie or a Ben Affleck associated movie, I say in 2020, whatever, I'm doing this. And I skip a year. And in between that year, I have the Batman. So the Batman 2 takes place in between. So you're going to have 3 straight movies of Batman, but they are different audiences. The type of audiences that appeal to Ben Affleck are not necessarily the same that appeal to Pattinson and vice versa. People have different tastes, and these characters have been around for 80 years, but you can take that. People think that's confusing and they think it's a disadvantage. No, if you know what you're doing and you're worth your paycheck, you market all aspects of your character. If you have a Batman that is more prevalent with the Dark Knight Returns, which is what Ben Affleck is, then you market that. You have an audience for that, but you also, the $800 or whatever million you made with the Batman says you have a market for that Batman as well. All right. You don't scrap one or the other. You stagger them and make sure that everybody gets what they want to a certain point. And you know what happens when you do that? When you do that right and you distinguish things, people are going to watch them both. All right. The people that watch Ben Affleck's Batman and BVS we're watching Pattinson's. I mean, there was crossover there. But you can have it all. You can do it both. You just have to organize it. And I think with DC, it is a must that you be able to accommodate people. Because like I said, there's a lot of people that were turned off by Robert Pattinson's Batman, for whatever reasons. But do I want to just leave that money on the ground? No, I want everyone's money if I'm running a business. And there's enough Batman story out there for over the next 5 years. I put 3 Pattinsons. I put Pattinson's 2 movies out there, stagger them every other year or so. And then I put the Ben Affleck, and then eventually the trilogy is going to be over with one of them, and then you move on. But they've dragged their feet on it, the old regime, and now we're in a point where people come up with saying, "Well, we can't have 2 Batman." I'm like, why? Would you only have 2 brain cells? I mean, come on. Yes, you can. You can have 2 Batman. So where was I? So that's
William.
whoa.
Before you go any farther, we have a super chat from Anthony Grigsby that we forgot above. We need to. Yeah.
Hey, my friend from down under. Women thing and men plunder. I won't sing the song. I don't want to get us demonetized. How you doing, Anthony? Nice to see you again. Nice. I haven't been on the stream with you in a while. Maybe we'll do a call and show have you on this one. So Anthony Grigsby brings in $7.99 Australian. Thank you for that. Hi, Will and Thade. What do you think are the chances of Man of Steel 2 being announced before Black Adam is released? Love to all the chat. I don't know. I'll answer first. I don't know, simply because I don't know what the plans are. I don't know. I mean, I would rather them finish the Justice League arc before we went off into a solo movie, because that utilizes the majority of the Trinity and gets a lot of more eyeballs on there. But I would not be opposed to it. I don't know. It depends on what happens in Black Adam. It depends. So if I see the Justice League backing up Superman and Black Adam, then I'm going to be like, okay, I want to see a Justice League movie. If I just see a Black Adam movie, or it's just him one-on-one with Kal-El, then that tells me that they're probably going to go in that direction. It all depends on how Superman is brought in. Now the rumors is that when Black Adam is saying, no one on this earth can stop me, and then Superman is saying, well, luckily I'm not from this earth, and then that's how they meet. So I don't know if he's with the Justice League. It all depends on. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to inflate an answer I don't have, but my preference would be that they finish the Darkseid arc, but I don't know if I'm ever going to get that. I'll take another Cavill movie. I would say 60% odds, maybe, especially if Black Adam makes money and it's determined that Cavill, because right now Black Adam's going to do decent money, but there's a difference between Black Adam doing decent 650 million, 700 million, and Black Adam doing 858, 879 if you add Cavill in there. I think Cavill's appearance pushes it over the edge. And if that happens, you might just get, I'd like to see, the Darkseid story arc finish just for professionalism, but I'll take, if you told me that I'm getting a Cavill, I'm getting the Zack Snyder Superman that he created in a solo movie or in any type of movie again, I will take whatever form. But I think 60-40. 60-40. What do you think, Thade?
I agree with you on that. Everything right now with DC is going to hinge on how well Black Adam does. It's going to be
not fair, but it's the truth. It's not fair, but it's the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that we're going to see the lay of the land more better after Black Adam. I hope it does well. I can't say I'm thrilled for the movie, and I can't say I'm even going to see it in the theater.
But Justice Society in it. I thought you were all in.
Well, I'm in for the Justice Society, but I can't say that I'm going to go to the theater for this one. I may just wait till it streams. I don't know, man. You know where I stand on DC is right now. You know
what? That is your preference. I want to see this because it's the I don't think it's fair that Black Adam has to carry the load as a C character, has to carry the load. Dwayne Johnson has to do 100% of his own advertising for this when there's a giant studio behind you. But unfortunately, that studio is in a flux because of a merger and transition, so they can't and haven't been able to support this movie like they really would if it would have been one of theirs. But I am excited for this movie. As a comic book geek, I even know I'm going to have to explain to everybody in the theater that we go to that who the Justice Society is. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind being the guy that everybody crowds around and says, who are these guys? Or what does this guy mean? You know what? Because I'm handing out my business card and saying, you know what? You can come, But I don't mind that. I think it's going to be an uphill struggle without Cavill in there because of the fact that who's Black Adam to people? You know what I mean? The Rock is going to pull in all the money that this money movie makes. It's going to be pulled in by the Rock's presence. And I don't think that's fair to The Rock, to be honest with you. I don't think that's fair to the movie because he's part of a big machine that should have already been in place, but it's been so deteriorated. So, all right, big Bat City stuff. I hope I pronounced that right. It's simple. Imagine having more screen time of Ben Affleck and Batman. Yes, okay. This came up earlier in the night on Max's stream and some other streams that I was on. About what Armor Wars is. They're making Armor Wars into a movie instead of series. I am a 100% card carrying proponent of series. The reason why is I know theatrical, you get more splash, make more money, is sometimes there's just not enough time to give characters and story air to breathe and grow. And Peacemaker was a prime. If Peacemaker would have been a movie, I probably would have walked out on that movie. But because it was a series that gave me time to understand and appreciate all aspects of the show instead of just jamming, everything in, there are certain characters that are in movies that are like, why the fuck did you even draw a paycheck? Why are you in the movie? Because it's not their fault. Their scenes got cut or there just wasn't enough time in a 2-hour movie. I think I like the series. Not only does it extends the story, it gives the characters room to grow and evolve, but it gives geeks like us a weekly conversation to talk about. We're always talking about Game of Thrones when we were talking about any of the other series. See, all these, it builds momentum in a way that is like, it builds that positive conversation. So yeah, I would love to. I think everything going forward. I know the movie theaters have to make money and all this, and we don't want to destroy the theater, and I understand that. But I like the fact that I can give something more of a chance than I initially would. I can get a stupid ass concept like Peacemaker, which was a stupid fucking concept, but because I had 7, 8 episodes or 9 episodes to give it a chance, that's 9 chances, and I got to watch John Cena evolve as an actor. I got to see Peacemaker evolve as a character, and I got to see the other people um, evolve around them. And it went from a stupid ass thing that I would have only given the 10 minutes to what it did evolve into is a bunch of people that have lived shitty lives that are all been brought together, including Peacemaker, and they want something better. All right, they want something better than what they've had. Peacemaker wants something better. Diebeard wants something better, and you wouldn't have gotten that in an hour or two. And it's the same thing with Batman's character. I think that the comic book story in general, even though we've had all these successes with movies, I think that the comic, not only does the comic book genre lend itself to connectability in shared universes, but it lends itself to series because that's the way the comic book story has always been told, one issue after another, you know. So I agree 100%. I think that would be a great idea. In fact, that's what I always thought that they were going to do. But now Zaslav has come in and said, you know what, we want to prioritize the theaters first. And that's one of the things I do disagree with him from. I think you can have it all because if you're going to prioritize the cinemas first, I think that's great. But I think you should have something connected that's going on with these other universes because not everybody can out to the theaters. Not everybody's going to have that kind of time. That's one thing. But I think that all your characters get a chance to shine when you have, even the ones that are too small. Even and the 6 episode series, I'm like, oh, I wish I had more, But even that's more than a movie.
Yeah.
And I know the production budgets are different and all that, but like I said, a Game of Thrones movie, that's just that doesn't impact a Game of Thrones series because, like I said, evolution is important to me. Caring about where these characters go, what happens to them, what happens to the people around them, whether they live, whether they die. When I see them again in other things, how much if I've only had an hour or so to see you evolve over 5 years because you're only in 2 or 3 movies, I have less regard for that character. So I agree 100%. Bat City. What about you?
Yeah, I'm liking the show format for characters. I really appreciated things like WandaVision, which gave me more of an insight into Wanda Maximoff. I mean, I think that the show format can give us more information and can allow us to get into that character deeper. And it gives us more time with the character. Like you said, if Peacemaker had been a movie, I wouldn't have bothered.
Yeah. And
Hell,
also,
I didn't even
go ahead.
I didn't even watch Peacemaker until like the 4th episode came out.
That's when it got really good. You know who else got to evolve with Peacemaker and all these shows? Me as a viewer.
Oh
I
yeah,
got to
yeah.
evolve and change my mind about something that I thought was a fucking ridiculous idea. But I had time. It was there. And the best thing that they did is they gave you those first 2 episodes all at once. And then they gave you the 3rd episode a week later. And then it started getting really good to the point where episode 4, I think, was midway through end of episode 3, and then midway through episode 4, when they're singing House of Pain, and he's starting to remember having accidentally killed his brother and all these things. He went from being a buffoon, a muscle-bound buffoon, to somebody that everybody in America could relate to. And then the guy with the beard, I forgot his name, but he was, he did an excellent job, and he played King Shark too. He's huge. But him evolving, finding out about his character, about not being not being attracted to women, and maybe if I do certain things, that relates to everybody watching that. And I don't think you can do this in movies. I think you have to give, just like you have to give people time to get to know them, you have to give these characters time. So yeah, short answer long. Yeah, Bat City, that is an awesome idea, and I'm a proponent of the series.
There's a question back from that from Dad Dude Vince. Yes, I do watch Lower Decks. You can thank Stella for that. And I thought the DS9 episode was amazing. Armin Zimmerman came back. Nana Visitor came back. They did really good with that episode, and there was a whole lot of like callbacks and Easter eggs and stuff in that episode, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed this. And like I said, I'm not a Lower Decks fan, but I thought I think they are doing a lot of special things in the Star Trek universe to bring us together. And that brings people together. Things like that brings, Deep Space Nine has been literally off the air for 20
Funniest
some
thing
odd
about
years.
that episode to me was as the Cerritos is coming into the DS9, they're having to wait for whatever reason, and the commander tells them to do a sweep around the pylons, and they do one sweep around the pylons, and the helmsman's like, "Well, what about now, Commander?" And he's like, "No, do another sweep around the pylons."
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. All right, William and Dave. Rumors are WBD wants to put Reeves Batman in the DCU. Your thoughts? That would be a horrible idea. I don't think it would happen because I don't think Matt Reeves wants it to happen, and that was one of the conditions that he took the job over, is he didn't want to be connected. Otherwise, he would have just took over for Ben Affleck's already made story. I do not think that Matt Reeves' Batman is designed to operate in the same universe as the DCEU. It is designed to operate within the confines that he's written for him, the city, the camera work, everything. It would be hard to bring in an alien from another planet, a wing welding guy who can create all kinds of crazy constructs and fit them in that world without compromising that world. Yes, you could do it. I don't think it's a good fit. This Batman, just like when you read the comics, if you read Justice League and you read any of the Batman solo comics, you know that it's written in a way. The story is engineered for a solo Batman. When you're reading Detective Comics, when you're reading Batman and Catwoman, or when you're reading Batman or things like that, and the story is different when it's being Justice League, because he's written in a way that his character, his look and feel is meant to reflect and bounce off of the people that are around him when he into the team atmosphere. Even when The Dark Knight Returns came out, that even though that's a hardcore solo type Batman, he was immediately interacting with Superman. He's interacting with Superman. He is known to have been part of the Justice League in that universe, and that there was a Justice League there. There's a Green Arrow there, so you have all that there. Whereas the Batman, his symbiotic relationship with the darkness and the grittiness of that city is as much part of the character as he is. I don't think you can fit these spectacular elements into that universe, or to bring him into the DCEU without compromising one or the other. I don't think Matt Reeves wants. I think Matt Reeves will actually walk if that happened, and I think Zaslav would listen to Matt Reeves on that if it was ever even an idea.
I don't think he'll walk. I know he will. And
Yeah.
to add for me here, I think not only would it be a bad idea, it would be a horrible idea.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves wants to keep a grounded story behind this, and you cannot do that and add it to the regular DC universe. You just can't.
There is nothing grounded about that, the DCU, and that's why I love about it. But I also love the fact that we have a character that can play both sides that way. So, all right, Chappie, do you think that it's possible after Rebel Moon that Zack Snyder may have a meeting with David Zaslav about the future of DCU and possibly directing Justice League? I think there's already been conversations. I don't know if they've gone anywhere, but I think that with Alan Horn and one of the things that David Zaslav said he made a priority was rebuilding the relationships with talent. I think guys like Christopher Nolan, I think guys like Zack Snyder all got a call basically to let, hey, this is the new management is in town. I know very well that you had a bad time with the previous regime, but they're gone. I'm here. We don't have any specific projects right now to give each other, but I'm letting you know that if you ever did want to, you don't have to worry about that bad taste in your mouth because those people are gone. And I think that that would probably be one of the first things he had done. As far as Justice League 1 and 2, a lot of that, once again, and Jose was right, is it's going to depend on what resonance the character has the very next time you see him. The very next time we see him most likely will be in Black Adam. If he moves the needle in a way that the company thinks, okay, this is money, then you could see these things again. I don't know if Zack Snyder would direct him or not. He wouldn't need to. He could executive produce it. It would be his story and his storyboards. He would just need a day-to-day director, or it could be someone else. To be honest with you, I know my fellow Snyder bros are probably going to try to put out a hit on me for this, but if the basic nuts and bolts of Zack Snyder's storyline is followed through for the most part, and it's someone else and it's a great director, I just want to end my story because Zack Snyder could always come in and say, that's exactly how I would have done it. And this director called me and I laid him out. Here's my storyboards. And I gave them to him and said, hey, have at it. And so we could still have something like that. Don't know. I would love to have Zack Snyder back telling these stories. But like I said, I am braced for either outcome. I am braced for the fact that we may have these characters continue on in a different form. I can brace for the fact that, he could come back and have some influence. And I'm also braced for the fact, the reality that he may not have any influence and that we just might be stuck with the actual characters themselves. Any of those instances, I'm okay. We went from having no Cavill as Superman, having no Batman and Affleck, and we had none of these things. And and everybody calling us pieces of shit for wanting more from Zack Snyder's Justice League because it was a great movie. We've gone from that to now we got Cavill most likely in Black Adam. We have Ben Affleck putting on the cowl again. We don't know for how many times. We're in a better situation now. And if I can get Zack Snyder to finish his story, I'm all for it. Right now, I just think we're in a good position if we just sit and wait and support everything that comes out. Next time you see Cavill with that red S, make sure your ass is there and make sure if it's great, if Black Adam is good, say it's good. If it's mediocre, but hey, that Cavill cameo was great, say that. I think a lot of it is up to us and not just the 3%ers. I think a lot of it is up to the general audience reaction to seeing Cavill again, because once he's gotten a proper response, then it's now you start saying, okay, Gal Gadot, or Jason Momoa, MILF Magnet, we're already making movies with him. Do we want to spend a lot of money and sending you on a new road, or do we want to take the easy route and use what's already been established? So that could include Zach, but I don't have a better answer for you than that. I hope it all blends itself out. All right. So yeah. Also, if it was a series, it could run the same time as Robert Pattinson's movie in a theater. Nobody would question. I think what you might want to do though, I would stagger it a little bit. Because even though what you want to do is you would want to give both of their time to have their time and have their conversation. So if you did Robert Pattinson's Batman, you want to have the lead up, the year that leads up to him and his movie and all the press and everything. You want it to be about him. And the same thing for Ben Affleck. If you were to get a series, you want it to be about him. I don't think there will be much confusion. I just think there's just not enough headspace sometimes with too much content for people to properly focus on one thing. And if I'm marketing, if I stagger them, I can make the same amount of impact off of both. I don't want one to cut the focus in half. Not confusion, but it's like energy, spiritual energy to support these characters. You want each one to have 100% attention. So I think they should stagger them. I don't think there will be any confusion though once you actually saw the movies. And once again, you got a marketing department of one of the largest film companies in the world. It's their job to end that confusion. If there's any confusion about these characters, then that's the job of the production company to end that. And if you have people that are supposed to be doing that job and they're not doing that job, then you get new people. But there should not be confusion. Just the mere existence of multiple Batmans does not mean that there's confusion. It means confusion if the people whose job to explain that to you and market that to you have failed. Now the previous regime failed. Now we can give this new regime a shot.
Yep.
All right.
I completely agree.
Yeah, but who knows? I think we're going to go a different route because that was a storyline that was probably abandoned, especially after Zack Snyder's Justice League. All right, let's see. Chappie, I'm hoping if they decide to do some reshoots with the Flash, that it's possible that we get to see Ray Fisher Cyborg back fit within storylines. Once again, given the situation, the only problem that you may have with the Ray Fisher situation is regardless to what, we're not going to get into what side, one side or another, because that does not involve us. And all we do is complicate that issue. But it's become such a radioactive issue, right or wrong. A company may be like, you know what, there's just a lot of noise around you right now. It might distract from the character. Or they may say, hey, you know what? Most of the general public doesn't know about that. We're making this movie for the general public. Those guys that you had an issue with are gone. This guy wants to work with you. These other people vouch for you, and we could get them. Once again, brace yourself for either event because either event could happen. I think that would be cool to see Ray Fisher, especially after seeing Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I hated Justice League even more than I thought I could because he was the heart. Zach said it. He was the heart of that movie. And you took the heart of that movie and put in a bunch of shit that just really didn't work. And when you see what he means to that movie, he's not the star of the movie, but he is a very integral cog in that movie that made it so much better. So, and his interaction with Barry was great. So I want to see more of that. So yeah, I agree 100%, Chappie. I hope, like I said, I can't give you guys definitive answers, but I can, dude, once October 21st rolls around here, I think we're all going to have a little bit light shed on the situation, especially if Zazov is the results guy. Because I think that, okay, just for argument's sake, if he's in that movie, if our Superman is in that movie, that's getting leaked. That's probably going to get leaked by Warner Brothers because that's good marketing. We're going to go see that movie multiple times. Not only going to see that movie, we're going to be talking about that movie in a positive light for the first time in a long time with a DC movie. And not only what's next, what does this mean? Because of the stream after that or the night of, when we come out of that theater, if Cavill's on there, what's next? And not what's next with the last 9 years of what's next bullshit that we've had to endure. What's next?
Hey, William.
Yeah.
Brodan wants to come in and talk to us. You mind if I send him the link?
Fuck Brodan. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, I don't even know. He might get lost on trying to get the link in here, but okay. So I'll believe it. I'll believe he can find his way to my stream when I see it. But anyway, yeah, Chappie, great question. And like I said, I think we're on the cusp of getting a better answer. Let's see. Yeah, CW had its time and place. Unfortunately, it's just not in 2022. Why is this going to be a mistake?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'll be right back. I got to go turn the air on because I don't want the stuff to overheat. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah. So William shall return here shortly.
All right. Oh, yay. Oh, where's he at?
I know. I sent it to him.
Hey, Brodan, you click on it, and then you come in. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's get to some of this. Did I cover all my topics there? Hold on. Oh, so we got Inoki. I was going to talk some Black Panther. Oh, I did hit on Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2049 is coming. Oh, man. Did I do it?
2099, right?
Yeah, well, 2029, but the 5th anniversary of Blade Runner is happening.
What's up, my old people? What's up?
There he is. What's up, Brodan? How you doing, man?
I've been at this 7 months, and I've up to this point have kept my streams from being corrupted.
Hey, I had Ethan Van Sciver on my last stream. I'm good luck right now.
You did what?
I just had Ethan Van Sciver on my last stream, so I'm good luck right now.
I was on a stream where he came on, and they were talking about a specific subject that I had nothing to do with, so I got off.
Well, we talked about.
I thought he was cancer.
Yeah, honestly, if you Ethan is not. He can do some dumb shit at times, but he actually just is a dude that has more conservative values. But you really listen to him; he's a good dude. I think he's a good dude to talk to. We had some fun.
Yeah, I listened to the stream because it was him and Jarbo were talking to each other, and I'm like, I'm out. I was so far outside of the situation, I jumped off.
Yeah.
So let's see.
I also got some new steel books, that you can't have, by the way.
Yeah. What's the deal with the Spider-Man steel book? Did you get it?
You said it
right up there.
Steel
right up there.
books, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to steal Your books.
We gonna steal the books.
Okay. All right, yeah. Go ahead and bring it closer to the camera so it makes it easier for me.
Yeah, we
By
want
the way,
to.
when you see the U-Haul outside, because once I find out the Brodan domain, don't mind the U-Haul
Yeah, just ignore the U-Haul.
because
See,
most
this
of
is
it.
what you're never
Completely.
gonna have. You're not gonna get this. Okay, this is the actual the limited edition that I just got. It might be sold
Does
out.
that have the extended movie in it or not?
Is that
Don't
No Way
believe
Home?
so. Don't believe they do have the extended in it, which I could care less about. But that's
That wasn't out by when they produced that yet.
no, they didn't. No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I don't care because there's only one scene I care about in that movie, an extended whatever. So that's cool. But this is the extended one. It has the 4K and the Blu-ray in it, and the download. So yeah, and I also have two more coming. I just got for cheap. I got the Wonder Woman one for $13.
Which
Oh,
one?
that's cool.
The first Wonder Woman. I'm not.
Okay, I'm about to say if you paid more than $1 for 84,
Man,
you get a refund.
no, I mean the cover would
That
be
movie.
nice, but I ain't taking the movie. I also
movie was
got
horrible.
Mission Impossible.
Which one? The original?
Actually, I have the original right up there, and then I have Rogue Nation. I just got Ghost Protocol.
Oh,
So-
damn,
Oh, that's cool. That's
What am I
cool.
missing? Okay, cool. We'll run this stream back. I found it's better for me to rewatch Enosh's streams and streams that you're on, and I can get a better inventory because when I'm trying to remember all this stuff, I can actually put the little voice thing next to there, and it lists everything for me. So it's really, like I said, I don't want to miss anything. But one of the other topics that I was going to bring up, and this is something that this is probably going to be one of the last times I talk about this before Black Panther gets released, and that's the earlier this week when they were talking about why Kevin Feige did not recast T'Challa.
Yes, that
topic. I listen. I have all the respect in the world for the people who run that studio, and they've done a lot. This is the one of the few mistakes I think they made. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this up here. I almost forgot it. I put it in the thumbnail. So let's see. All right, I'm going to bring up the Variety article, and here we go. All right, is everything good? Okay, so, dude, I do not like this function on StreamYard now. Are you use StreamYard for that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what are you doing?
Before, when I shared the screen, just upon sharing the screen, it just popped up. I did not have to add to the stream anymore. I just went right to it. Now I have to add to it, and
really
I do that. Yeah, it wasn't doing that. But when I clicked on the screen, it was automatically up there. Now it just sits in another screen. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's weird. That didn't happen with me. I just click it and that's it.
That's what I mean. Maybe it's something that they're doing. Yeah. All right, Kevin Feige on why Marvel didn't recast T'Challa after Chadwick Boseman's death. It was much too soon. It's been 2 years, but okay. All right. In Captain America: Civil War, the Avengers movies, and of course Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman brought King T'Challa to life, marking an important moment in representation in superhero films and breaking box office records along the way. After Boseman's shocking death in August of 2020 due to colon cancer, which the actor had kept private, audiences began to wonder whether the character would be recast in the Marvel Cinematic Universe ahead of the release of the sequel, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Shot after Boseman's death, fans launched a campaign for Marvel to honor the actor and character by recasting T'Challa, and the movement that sparked a petition, and I have that petition I will bring up, with over 60,000 signatures. Although the actor does not appear in the upcoming movie, Wakanda Forever will pay tribute to Boseman. In an interview with Empire, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige explained the decision to not recast T'Challa, at least yet. It just felt like it was too soon to recast, he said. Stan Lee always said Marvel represents the world outside your window, and he talked about how, as an extraordinary and fantastical as our characters and stories are, there's a relatable human element to everything we do. The world is still processing the loss of Chad, and director Ryan Coogler poured his heart into that story. Feige continued, the conversations were entirely about, yes, what do we do next? And how could the legacy of Chadwick and how to be done and help Wakanda, so all right, major problems with that. Okay, so Stan Lee always said that Marvel represents the world outside your window, but you know what happens outside of our window, unfortunately, people die. All right.
Yep.
And as I said earlier today and yesterday on our Friday night stream, people stop living. The world does not stop spinning. All right. What are we
Life
doing
goes
for
on.
legacy? The problem I have with that is, listen, there's gonna be a great movie about Chadwick Boseman. There's gonna be a documentary, maybe by Kim Burns. It'll be the greatest thing out there, and he deserves that. He was a great actor before this. He reached out to people. A lot of you little black boys saw the representation of him on the screen for the first time in a major big blockbuster type movie, and it meant a lot. The character T'Challa meant a lot. I don't see how furthering his legacy by stopping his character from moving forward in the very next movie that he's in. Black Panther is T'Challa. I know there have been other people to wear the costume, but that's just working around the situation. And you can tell they admittedly did not know about his condition. And that's they had no indication. They give no indication. Even people said, well, they're going to kill him at the end, whatever. But he would have still been in there, and they would have addressed that then. So if it wasn't the story you were going to tell, then I am 100% against altering your story for things that are outside of your make-believe story. When he says relatable, we relate to death. All right, we relate to illness. I'm pretty sure every one of us in this chat room and on this screen has known or within 6 degrees of separation been associated with someone that has had cancer. All right,
Yep.
We deal with it the best we can. We deal with death the best we can, but we don't stop. When I leave here, the world will keep spinning without me, and I don't want anything that I've done and the legacy of I built to stop. Black Panther was a character, and if you look from our thumbnail, I purposely put up Jack Kirby's Black Panther from 1966. All right, years before Chadwick Boseman was even born. All right, it was an iconic character before then, and in Lord helping, it will be a iconic character for as many actresses for the next 50, 60, 70 years. You know, I don't see how you carry on his legacy by stopping his work. He brought the character into the living rooms of everyone, and that was just the beginning. That you know, it shouldn't end in that manner because it was too soon. Too soon for who? And how long were we supposed to wait now? Because it's been 2 years. By the time this movie gets out, it'll be 2.5 years. How long were you supposed to wait to get over it? If you needed time, if you wanted to extend the time between movies in order to put T'Challa in a movie that's titled Black Panther, take the time you need. I would have rather them done that than alter their course. I can respect their decision, but the reasons that they give for it, I just wholeheartedly do not agree with. Because of the fact that the fans wouldn't accept this, or the fans are still mourning. We all mourn people who pass, and after a certain time of mourning, we pick up and we go. But you're going to tell me that a character that you had no intention of killing, or killing off, or dying off, you're going to alter your make-believe. You're going to alter your story for something that has nothing to do with the story. As tragic as Chadwick Boseman's passing is, and I've said this over and over again, it hit me like a punch to the gut because I had no idea the man was ill at all. As tragic as it is not part of Black Panther's story. All right, any actor that ever plays Chadwick Boseman, that they are everybody who is in a movie, whether they are the person holding the camera, the director, the producer, the actor, they are all assets to tell the story. They are not the story. Okay, and I think that is a bad precedent to not recast it. And it came up because William Hurt passed away, and they're recasting Thunderbolt. And I'm like, same thing. William Hurt passed. Rest in peace. Great man, great actor, great career. But I mean, these people didn't want the world to stop just because they're no longer on it. You move on and you do the recap. You are telling a story. You know, tragically, you lost one of the pieces that helped you tell the story, but the story existed before any of these people were born. So all I say is continue, and then we have the I'll stop that screen, and then we have the actual the petition I'll read from. Let's see, share screen. If I can find it. All right, here's the petition. All right, and I'll read from this. Recast T'Challa to honor Chadwick Boseman and the Black Panther franchise. In August of 2020, the world mourned the death of Chadwick Boseman. To many, he was known for the on-screen role of Black Panther in the Marvel Universe. While his character of T'Challa was adored by fans, there have been rumors that Marvel will kill off his character in the new movie. That's no longer a movie or a rumor. This is a call for President of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige and company, President Luis D'Esposito, and writer-director Ryan Coogler to reconsider their decision and recast the role of T'Challa in the Black Panther franchise. If Marvel Studios removed T'Challa, it oh shit.
God, you're getting old there, man.
Yeah, fuck you. It would be at the expense of the audiences. Let me read this because this is the important part. It would be at the expense of the audience, especially Black boys and men who saw themselves in him. That also includes the millions of fans who were inspired by the characters as well. By not recasting, it would stifle the opportunity of one of the most popular leading Black superheroes to add their legacy to a number one way to kill a legend is to stop telling their story. And I'm gonna repeat that. The number one way to kill a legend is to stop telling their story. I mean, that needs to be a banner somewhere. Hashtag recast T'Challa is not calling for the immediate recast. Recast T'Challa is not preventing anyone else from taking up the mantle of the Black Panther. Recast T'Challa is asking Marvel Studios not use the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman as a plot device in their fictional story. That is huge. That is just exactly what I said. They put it more articulate than me. And I'm going to read it again. Recast T'Challa is asking that Marvel Studios not use the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman as a plot device in their fictional storytelling, using something that has nothing to do with your story and making it part of it. So recast T'Challa is asking for the betrayal of T'Challa to be allowed to continue in the MCU. The calls to action are sign the petition, share the petition, and I've already done all that. As the first Black superhero in mainstream comics and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, T'Challa is literally Black history. He was created in 1966 during the Civil Rights era to be the embodiment of positive Black representation. His character was also instrumental in uplifting Black female characters such as Storm, the Dora Milaje, and his own sister Shuri. There is no more positive form of representation in Black culture than strong Black men and women supporting one another. T'Challa's character was only scratching the surface with the story in the MCU, and there's much more left to tell. Chadwick Boseman cannot be replaced because there is only one Chadwick. However, someone can step into the role and continue what Chadwick worked so hard to bring to life. Boseman wanted people to see the role and not himself. He believed that the roles he took were bigger than himself, and the role of T'Challa was no exception. And the mirror that his family had no issue with it being, they wanted it to be recast. So, yeah. So, and that's this damn thing again. I read you everything. You don't really need to see all that, but dude, I'm going to have to fix this now that I know it's only happening with me. But I just read you everything on there. If you ever wanted to go, you can just Google change.org, recast T'Challa. And they're being reasonable about it, in my opinion. So I think that they should, exactly what they did that should have happened. And I'm seeing this beautiful movie that looks like it's going to come out, or it's going to come out, and it looks like it's going to be a stunning movie. And I will enjoy Wakanda forever, and it should be up for every award it deserves. It's just going to be a hollow emptiness that they made this decision. I'm seeing a Black Panther movie without T'Challa. So there you go. That's one of the things I wanted to put out, and I know it's only going to be we only got a couple of instances to get that out. The movie comes out on November 11th. I think it comes out on Veterans Day. So yeah, it's something that's kind of and it comes up again whenever somebody who has passed away has their character come back around, like William Hurt's character, But like I said, the reality of the situation is someone else is always going to play that character. Now, if you needed to take, like I said, I would have rather them delayed Wakanda Forever than. Like I said, use a real life tragedy and depict it in this manner. And he's 100% right. The wording of that is perfectly put. So what do you think about that, bro, Dan? And then I'll go to, since you're the guest.
My opinion is, listen, the reason they didn't do it so soon, I'm of the mindset of taking their time, but killing him off I rather would have left it ambiguous, open ended until you find someone perfect. I don't agree with the idea of totally just recasting him too soon, because that's going to be a hard thing to do. It's going to take a few years. But to the idea of killing the character off, I don't agree with that. That is not what Chadwick would have wanted. That's not what the family wants. That's not what anyone wants. It's just not right. Let me ask you guys this: if Christian Bale, God fucking forbid, Christian Bale died.
Knock on wood. Let's knock on wood.
All right, God
rough year.
fucking bid. Do you think we're gonna stop Batman? No, you're not. You're not gonna stop Superman. You're not gonna stop Wonder Woman. These are things that are keep going on. Black Panther is the same thing, in my opinion. You can't just quit the whole thing. At some point, yes, take a minute. We all know it was a heavy burden. But to kill him off on screen, no. Now, luckily, this is Marvel. Can you bring him back?
Fake death universe, yeah.
Fake death, fucking bring him back from the underworld, Soul Stone. I don't fucking know. Do what you want to do with that. We also can bring him from another universe. Who doesn't really goddamn matter. He's not really dead. But I don't like the idea of depicting the funeral in this movie. But I also am okay with it due to the fact that this is Marvel and we're talking about. You can bring back anyone. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can bring back Thanos right now if you wanted to. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's Marvel. That's the saving grace of this. The fact that this is Marvel. You can afford to make these decisions and you can afford to correct them. But I do believe they need to correct this decision in the near future. Yeah. I don't agree with killing him off in any sense. And it's to me, how do you explain it? Did he get killed in battle? Did he do this or that? That's a whole nother sub story that matters. But the movie looks visually stunning, and this movie is going to be a lot of healing for a lot of people. But I don't agree with killing him off like that. And I don't agree with the idea of taking a character away right now due to this tragedy. But Kevin Feige made this decision. I would hope that they rectify it soon, but I kind of knew they would have to make this decision because of the rampant debate over this. This is a very heated debate, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But at some point in the next year or two, we're going to all have to just understand that business is business. Disney ain't going to stop. You can't stop business.
And my question, and I'm always asking this, and fair, and I understand the emotional aspect of it, so I don't ask it as an insult to anybody, because I understand people handle death differently. Mm-hmm. My question will be to any filmmaker or any of this: had he not passed away, would you have made the movie that you've made it now? And if the answer is no, at what point is the imaginary storytelling in this comic book universe affected and unaffected by outside? Then I don't like the precedent it sets for things. Storyteller, tell your story, tell the original story you set out to tell. And if this wasn't the original story, and we had got indications while he was still alive that they planned to do this, I would be all 100% for it. But they're doing this as a response to
it's a response to it. Yeah. And I think it was made hastily. But it's also one that we had to know was going to be coming either way, due to the fact of what was going to happen. This is not surprising to me. Yeah. I would say it's accepted for now, but if they kill off the character totally, we're going to have a talk, because that is absolute bullshit. And to be honest with you, if you were to pull that card, you are completely and absolutely taking away so much storytelling and so many reaction things we want. Let me say something. There are multiple Blades. There's multiple Batmans. It's okay to admit there can be multiple T'Challas. Does it suck that Chadwick isn't going to be able to finish out the story and end it on his own terms? Yes. Yeah. But guess what? This is a great thing, guys. Let me know when we've ended a character because someone died. I mean, let me say this. Are we ending Superman because Christopher Reeve is dead?
Yeah.
No, we're not.
So
even if The Rock was not able to be Black Adam, we ain't gonna freaking end that project. Well, I mean, we're not gonna get no money off of it, but you know what I mean. You got to keep.
Because he is that movie, and there are certain things where I can. And I'll answer this question real quick. I think it may, but I a little bit at the front end. But I think once people realize what a great movie, because it looks like a stunning movie, I think the stunningness of the movie will overwhelm.
There's really nothing in November to compete with. And to be honest with you, all they have to do is release one more teaser with maybe Namor saying one goddamn word, and you have $1 billion coming in the box.
Yeah, you know what he needs. You know what he needs to say? I'm not a mutant, but that's a different strain.
Oh dear God. Oh, you say, hey guys, and I don't date Amber Heard. Boom, instant billion. I don't date Amber Heard. I'm a winner.
Coach, your first black, yeah. And a lot of these characters that have died, like say like the Fast and the Furious, them not going forward with that character, right? Paul Williams when he passed away, or certain characters that have been defined. Like you wouldn't take a Tony Soprano, and even though you've played a younger version, you probably wouldn't take a Tony Soprano and go forward immediately with him, because so much of the story of Tony Soprano has been crafted around James Gandolfino, and so much of certain characters that have only been around a certain time, that's 100% of that character. And that character, even if they got another actor to play that character, like his son or somebody else, they're going to have the characteristics of that actor. Black Panther had all the characteristics of being Black Panther decades before there was any movie. The Black Panther was Black Panther before Chadwick Boseman was even born. Black Panther was going to be Black Panther before, long after any of us was gone, him or us. So we're not talking about a singular character that, yeah, I couldn't see another person playing Tony Soprano in an extra season of Sopranos, because that character, because that character was David K. All those guys wrote and evolved that character around his shell.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther was different. Chadwick Boseman came to that character that had been around for 30 some odd years, so it's different. The character is not, should not be synonymous necessarily with the actor.
The character is also a mantle. It means a lot more than just one person. So I do agree. Yeah, you're gonna have to recast that character. Now, maybe not. I get it.
Yeah, I would have been okay with waiting. If you say, "Oh, it's gonna take,"
you're gonna wait. Yeah,
just
don't. The funeral thing, leave it open ended, man. But you know what? At the end of the day, I look at it like it's Marvel. If you want if people use this funeral to kind of get that emotion out, that's fine. But again, it's Marvel. That's why you can make that decision. If it was realistic,
yeah. To me,
now,
whenever there's death, people want to use certain things as a memorial, and there are things that are designed as apparatus to memorialize somebody.
Mm-hmm.
There are real life funerals. Chadwick Boseman had a huge funeral that a lot of people showed up to. There are going to be monuments at colleges he donated to. There are going to be plenty of things that will let you know that this great man was here. I don't need the movie story to memorialize him. You want to say rest in peace, Chadwick, at the end of postscript and put an Easter egg. There are ways we have to memorialize and pay respects to the dead. I don't think imaginary stories are that. A documentary about Chadwick Boseman, because then he is the story. But T'Challa is the story when it comes to Black Panther, no matter who's playing him.
Right.
So
it is what it is.
Your thoughts on that, Thade? We'll kind of like talk over you. Go ahead. Are you still there?
God, he's old. God, you're old.
He was playing with his doll, so I don't know.
Well, that sounds about right. And he's playing with his AARP card or something. I don't know. So.
Yeah, he had to. She was staying something. So yeah, so that's where I am with that. So I think I covered. Did I cover all of that? Okay, I covered Black Panther. I covered. We talked a little bit about Game of Thrones.
Do you mind if I weigh in on the Black Panther question real quick?
Yeah, go
ahead. Okay, so I honestly feel the same way about it you guys do. I think they should have recast him. I kind of understand, though, why they didn't. But it's kind of a double-edged sword. With the importance of the character, especially to the Black community, and...
We don't have a lot.
Yeah, I think that... Okay, so they're most likely going to mention that he died or what have you. And, okay, fine, whatever. It's going to be a bit upsetting, probably more so to more people than myself. I'm not as connected to the character as others are. But do I think it's going to affect the way this movie does? No. This movie is going to do just like The Crow did. For better or worse, this movie is going to be colored by the fact that Chadwick died, whether we feel it should be or not. And this movie will make money simply on the fact of Chadwick's death. That's neither a good or bad thing. You could take it however you wish. Okay?
It's going to make money. There's nothing in November. It's a Marvel movie. The trailer hit emotionally with a lot of people, and the trailer is beautiful to begin
Yeah.
with.
Aside from that decision, I think it's going to be, like I said,
It's going to make $1 billion.
It's gonna have some Oscar nods. I agree with William. William said earlier that there's gonna be some Oscar nods on this movie.
Soundtrack.
I agree.
Yeah, that score is beautiful.
Soundtrack, the cinematography.
Oh, by the way,
the cinematography definitely.
Not using a rap song. Listen, nothing against rap, obviously, but stop using hip hop and rap in movies that you're not going to put it in the movies. It's not part of the soundtrack. Stop.
In fairness, they did do it in the first Black Panther. They've done it.
Yeah, they played that one. Yeah, I know. And I'm like, stop. And
okay,
it drives me crazy. I'm a big
sound score guy. To finish with my idea, so I can go ahead and get out of here because I'm getting tired.
You take some pills. Go ahead.
I don't have any speed, William. Anyway,
you said go ahead.
Anyway, as for what you guys were saying about it being Marvel, Secret Wars, they're most likely going to wait till Secret Wars to recast him. And it is a multiverse. They could bring in a T'Challa from anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's the biggest rule of comic books. Nobody really dies. Okay. There used to be a cardinal rule that the only 3 people that ever died in Marvel Comics was Captain Marvel, Uncle Ben, and Gwen Stacy. And the only one that they haven't broken is Captain Marvel. Okay.
They've shattered Gwen Stacy. And the good
they shattered Gwen Stacy. They brought multiple Uncle Bens back. There used to also Bucky used to be a part of that rule, and now we've got Winter Soldier. So, you know, comic books, nobody stays dead for long.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, that is a fact. T'Challa will be back. T'Challa will be back in some form or other. I just think that this movie is unfortunately going to be a memorial to Chadwick Boseman. And that's both good and bad. I agree with William.
I don't mean to sound heartless. Yeah.
I agree with William. This movie, the story of this movie should not have been changed by the fact that Chadwick Boseman dies. Yeah. Things break, people die, the world moves on. That is simple fact. It is harsh, but it is true. Okay? Things break, people die, the world moves on. But they made this decision for better or for worse, and it's what we're going to have to live with.
And this is another thing Chappie brings up. I like Marvel. It's like Marvel was worried about the backlash if they recasted the character T'Challa. And if you're Marvel, and I understand that as being a concern, but if you're Marvel and you've conditioned your fans and you've, for the most part, given them what they wanted and they've trusted your decision making, I say you hold firm. They're not going to not go see a Black Panther movie because of that. They're not going to go see it. All right. Especially us black folks. Listen, we don't have a lot, dude. Who do we have? We can count them on less than a hand, dude. So when it comes to mainline,
Black Adam isn't even black.
Huh?
Black Adam isn't even black, guys. I mean, we really don't have much. Black Adam isn't even black.
No, he's Egyptian, which is but the guy who's playing him is black and Samoa. I'll take it. I'll take it because we don't have much.
I guess whatever. Screw it.
You know, we don't have much. So don't
Black
take
Adam.
away. I mean, so yeah. But here's the thing: the backlash. I think if Marvel would have made their decision, yeah, there would have been some people upset with it. But it's like when you're on a roll and you've done right by the fans at every turn, and you have the credibility of your success, you can make decisions and absorb the brunt of this. People would have gotten over it. They might not have, just like I'm going to get over what they're making the decision the other way and go see the movie. These other people would have they would have been okay. Nobody was going to boycott this movie. They would have looked like shit trying to boycott this movie for that reason, especially with the family saying, please carry on. So yeah, there you go. So yeah.
All right, William, I'm going to say goodnight to you guys real quick.
Mm-hmm. Hey, can you turn on the camera so we can see the doll?
It's not a doll, William.
What is it, Ron?
Starting to sound really weird.
I can't tell. What it is?
It was a video on my other device for a
Okay, I'm
game.
glad you said
Okay,
that slowly so you can get the story mixed up. Hey,
don't
listen,
even go there, man.
I'm in Vegas, man. We got them here. No, I'm just kidding. That was
But
wild.
anyway, I look forward to
Yeah, Game of
the
Thrones
Game of
tomorrow.
Thrones stream tomorrow night. So I will see you then.
Yeah, in a few hours, basically. Yep. Well, I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yep.
Fire and blood.
All right, man. Bro,
All
Dan,
right,
good
and
seeing your face, brother. We got to
all
stream
right.
together again sometime soon.
I
Well,
wouldn't say all
you
that,
got
but okay.
screw you. But I
Okay.
just got in possession of a 1300 channel. So
Okay.
we're gonna start being monetized on it, getting all that done. I'm in ownership of that now, so we got a lot of things. Plus,
All right,
my
well,
other channel is growing, so we got a lot of plans actually.
just let me know, man. I know we've got that stuff to work on you were talking about. So,
I'm probably just gonna push it into season 2. Fuck it. We'll do season 2.
all right.
That we'll start discussing the crime stuff. And we'll work on.
All right, man. Let me know. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Talk to you
See
boys
then.
later.
Yep.
Good night, y'all.
All
And
right.
to the chat, peace out. Be safe.
All right. And I think, like I said, I think I've covered all my bases. You got anything to add on our way out?
Nothing really. There's nothing really much going on with any news lately. So yeah.
Other than we hit it all. We hit all the
Yeah.
we hit the Wolverine stuff. We hit we hit some of this, even some stuff. Antonio Inoki, I don't know if you're a wrestling fan or not, but for us wrestling geeks, he was one of the Mount Rushmore guys, in my opinion. We talked about Blade Runner celebrating the 5th anniversary of 2049. So yeah, I think we covered everything. All right, guys. To my chat, thank you. Hit the like button. Subscribe to Point Action Lounge if you haven't already. You can always find my own personal page, which is still growing under construction at www.thescifcenter.com. If you just read the scroll down there, all my social media, TikTok, it's all there. It's Saturday night, and every time that you guys take your time, you could be doing a lot on Saturday night. You could be partying, you could be dancing, you could be, robbing banks. You can do, you're doing a whole bunch of more exciting things, but you give your nearly 3 hours to us, and we appreciate it. Enosh appreciates it. The whole lounge, everybody in here appreciates it. And thank you for making that choice. And we will see you tomorrow right after episode 7 of House of the Dragon, which looks, once again, I keep saying this every week, but it looks like tomorrow's episode is going to be the best episode of the season. So see y'all then.
Mm-hmm.